let's see, 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. And, obviously we have, Lakes and Ponds Committee, so we'll come right into you guys and then we'll get into our other stuff thereafter, so. I'm not, so I'm Rick Porter, right, I'm the chair. You guys probably know Maria as our recreation director, Chris Murphy is one of our other board members. So, Laura is out today. Okay. And we got Lori on the line. Okay. So if you guys mind, I was gonna say, I know most of you, but I'm not so sure I know you, the two of you guys. So why don't we?
All right, I'm Laura Heaven. I'm here as a member of the Board of Health.
Okay.
Not
Yeah,
the official
I get
one,
it.
just the lower level.
The representative for Board of Health.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, Mike Finkel, Vice Chair of the Lakes and Ponds.
Okay.
I'm Dave Connors, I'm the Chair.
Bill Taylor, I'm a member.
Sally Kent, I'm a member.
Okay.
On the screen, we have Lori Woden, who's also a member. And for the record, we have a quorum, but we are not, we're not going to be in session.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That's fine. Yep. Okay. And my understanding is that tonight's about Pratt Pond, right? Obviously, we know that we've closed it down 4 out of the last 5 years at least.
Yeah.
So, you know, and my understanding is that it's studies being done and what we might be able to do to help redirect those closures in the middle of the summertime. We'll talk.
So, and we'll go back a little bit in time. The town contracted with TRC out of Waltham to start on phase 1 of the Pratt and Mill Ponds management plan. And they did a full-blown study in Pratt Pond in 2023. In 2024, our committee, we basically picked up on what TRC was doing, and we were also doing water quality sampling. Same in 2025. When we look at the data for over the past 3 years, there have been cyanobacteria algae blooms that have recurred in Pratt Pond. The data shows us, you know, there's some at a shallow water level, but the sweet spot seems to be the 12-foot depths in both Pratt Pond, and this year there are some in Wildwood. So,
Okay.
So we're looking at more than just Pratt Pond.
Okay.
The big concern is with Pratt Pond because that's where everybody goes. That's where everybody is boating from. That's where everybody's swimming. During the summer, your committee is running the day camp, kayaking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have these blooms, or these potential blooms.
Yeah.
State's protocol has been erring on the side of caution. I fully understand this. Someone reports some green, scummy looking stuff in the pond. And the board of the Mass DPH, Department of Health, they don't have the funds to come running every time somebody sees something like this to test it and see what it is.
Yep.
Not every algal bloom is going to be a cyanobacteria bloom. But the default position for MDPH has been post advisories and start close the pond.
If I may interrupt, when we close the pond, we've tested.
Correct.
The Board of Health tests every week in the summer, and if Maria calls us and says something looks suspicious, we go down and do an additional test.
Right.
So the pond has never been shut without a formal test.
That's what you do.
I can't tell you that. I'm not telling you.
I think it's the water test that you send in.
We do send it in, you know, we are governed by Mass Department of Public Health. And we follow their guidelines, and they provide, I do believe they provide a test, we test, we send them to their lab.
Well, that's part of
here.
I actually think, we've had some same day closures as sending in the
Right.
pictures. So
Right.
I know, just based on the timeline of when the test results would come
Right.
back, that I do think they close down first to do that.
Sometimes they do, because when you send us pictures, we send them to Mass Department of Public Health.
Mhm.
There have been times they say, not an issue. There have been times that say, our scientist has looked at this and this is what we feel it is.
And
That, actually, I would like to add to that, that the DPH guidance is that you test after the bloom dissipates. Because the toxins themselves are released when the cells die. So there will always be a gap between the bloom being observed and the first test being done per the DPH protocol.
Right, and then I know the DPH protocol too is 2 tests.
Correct.
You can't open up.
Right.
So we've done some research. And the protocol that we're going to recommend is based on Wayland's protocol. Wayland's Town Beach is in the north pond of Lake Cochituate. And they have a whole scenario. And what we're recommending is basically a 2-pronged approach to trying to help keep the pond open. And before I get into that, how costly is it to the town when we close the pond? Has anybody ever done a cost study on that, and, ballpark figures?
I think, we could, I think the hard thing is it depends on which week you're talking about. First couple weeks in June and July are gonna be very different than end of August, mostly because, season pass sales will have already been completed. If it's 4th of July week, our summer program numbers are way down, things along those lines. So
There's just so many variables.
there's, yeah,
Weather.
right, did it rain that week? So I don't know if there's a real good answer to that.
But it interrupts the revenue flows, baby.
It does.
Some money is lost.
There's an impact is felt, yes.
So what Wayland has started doing is using what's called Abraxas test strips. And that is a qualitative test. It's basically a litmus paper test. You sample the water, you dip the test strip in, and you let it incubate for about an hour, however long the test actually takes. And it will show if there are cyanotoxins in the water at or below, up to certain levels. And that's one of the criteria for MDPH for closing the ponds. The other is the cell counts. If the cell counts of the cyanobacteria exceed 70,000 cells per liter of water, or microliter, I think. Again, we close it, and then we continue with the testing. What we're proposing is the Board of Health has to test weekly for E. coli. I'm looking at recommending that we do an additional weekly test right along with the E. coli for the cyanotoxins. Someone sees green scum in the water. And this is the second prong of the proposal. We can take a sample, it's called a grab sample of the water at the beach, and send it off to Northeast Labs down in Connecticut, get a same-day turnaround test on it that will give the qualitative or quantitative. It will tell us what species of photoplankton is in there and the number of cells. So if, say, there's Anabina, which is a blue-green algae, and the cell count is below the MDPH recommendation of 70,000 cells per milliliter, we're good. So we could actually prevent some of these closures based on something green in the water. It could be blue-green algae, but we could actually possibly prevent some of these closures with this protocol.
So that's just running an extra test,
But actually,
doing a test script and then seeing it and then.
so just elaborate a little bit more. You do one test immediately upon observing a potential
Sure.
hazardous food. And then the following days, you would use the test strips to confirm that the toxins weren't increasing.
And then, okay,
And then a week after the first test, you do another one of the quantitative tests.
got it,
So you'd have two quantitative tests and in between these qualitative tests.
got it.
Now, there is actually some way you can make those in-between tests semi-quantitative, which we may elect to do, which would make them more valuable as data to make a decision. And ideally, what would happen is that series of tests would be enough to convince the Department of Health that no advisory needs to be done.
Okay,
So the fact is that over this testing period, the beach would still be open unless one of the tests demonstrated that you had a problem, you close it immediately.
Right.
okay,
Just for clarity, the beginning trigger of these testings, who is actually observing that there's something in the water?
Anybody.
So nobody's trained actually to see that this is dangerous.
No, and I think that's in part why pictures get sent to the.
That's why pictures get sent to our scientists, but what is coming from is our hot, humid summers.
Yeah,
We've never had them. And we all can attest the last 3 or 4 have been exorbitant. I mean, we live in New England. Nobody used to have air conditioning. I didn't grow up with it. Nobody I knew had air conditioning. And now people cannot live without it. It's not typical to have 5 degrees of 100% humidity.
Yeah.
And that's usually the trigger. I cannot speak for the entirety of the Board of Health, but I think this is a discussion. I can have our admins, I can have Diane and now Matt, look into the town of Wayland and see if DPH is acceptable, because we can only do what DPH allows us to do.
Absolutely.
And if you have an idea, do you have an idea of what the cost is of these tests?
Yes, we do. So
Because I can tell because that's gonna be the first question
uh-huh,
from all.
Let's just going to cost, yes.
Thank you, no, but I can't, like I said, this would be,
That's next topic.
right, but this would be, because and let me tell you, I think I was on the board maybe 3 weeks when I shut Dunkin' Donuts between Christmas and New Year's. The villain, I've been there before, and I was like, boy, was it pointed, lucky me.
It's still the one that's in town.
Oh, it's still one, yeah, they had a sprinkler leak, the sprinkler burst Christmas Day. We went in, we removed the ceiling tiles, I looked up and I said, wow, looks like black mold to me.
Oh,
And they got an expert in, and guess what? It was, and the reason we left the drive-through open, but we hermetically sealed where they were working, but the manager then sent the Board of Health a letter saying, we are currently remediating asbestos and black mold, which triggered us to shut them down completely. Now, there is no asbestos because of the year of the building, but we had in writing that that's what they were just saying.
Put it in writing, yes.
So therefore, I get to go in and then argue with the owner and shut it down. I mean, sometimes we're not very popular.
But back to your question,
Yeah.
there's 4 triggers that the Mass Department of Health has. One is a visible,
yeah,
or
or
a visible bloom of blue-green algae. You can't look at it except under a microscope and say, that's blue-green algae. You could have green, filamentous algae, looks the same in the water. And one of the reasons that they don't test is it's about $400 to get a same-day test.
Right.
And if it is blue-green algae, well, that's not good. The second is the microcystins and I can't remember the name of the other toxin. One is 2.5 micrograms per milliliter of water, and the other one is 0.8 micrograms per milliliter of water. And again, those are our lab level tests. And the fourth is the cell counts go above 70,000 per liter, 70,000 cells of whatever cyanobacteria is in there. The test kits, the litmus paper test kits, 20 of those comes in at 600 some odd dollars.
That's really good.
Yeah, so it's about $34, it'd be about $34 a week to test.
No, $34 per strip.
Per strip.
Right.
Yeah, so if we're using one per week,
Oh, well, that's the routine testing.
the routine testing,
For
yes,
this particular
If
scenario,
there's a,
it could be,
same day test, $400, 7 strip tests, and another same day test
Yep.
at $400.
yeah, that talking
And
50% maps, all that, those.
Yeah, so-
Really nice.
So it's probably about $1,200 for that scenario.
That's per bloom.
Because that includes some shipping.
yeah, but for routine testing, and that's, you know,
Monitoring.
Yeah.
monitoring, I consider that relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trigger events would be someone sees a bloom of algae,
Right.
then the scenario changes. Then we go into a little more aggressive testing, a little more frequent testing, and of course, the prices go up.
Well, so this is, you may not know, but we're in budget season
Yes,
right now for May. You know, because it's December, so we start planning for May.
Yeah.
And this is my,
we're here now.
well, but they don't control the budget. It would be the Board of Health. So
Well,
what I'm saying is,
Questionable of the budget for the rec department. You have your own budget.
We have our own
you have
budget.
your own budget. If you want to absorb that,
In our opinion, it hugely impacts the department of rec.
that would be great because, you know, people love us anyhow. They're
But,
complaining
but,
about
Board
the
of Health
trash.
is-
Right.
Well, it doesn't matter because
That's a trick fight we're not.
Can I just say, Rick, the town has a $42 million budget.
Yeah.
You know, in the grand scheme of things, it honestly, what I was gonna say was, whether it's the rec that pays for it or the Board of Health that oversees and pays for it, somebody's gonna have to pay for it, but it's gonna need to be built into a budget. And because it's budget season, I'd like to try to get, you know, the beginning of January, you guys, you know, the same proposal before the Board of Health. I know we were invited.
Yes.
I'm here
And
because,
I am so glad that you're here because I wanted some representation.
yeah, we're here.
from-
And, you know,
To hear what we're talking about.
Farrell and Quinn have littles and this is bedtime. So, yeah, so, but no, this is very pertinent and, but I'm here because I'll listen and I'll say, look, Wayland's doing this. So now we have a model and see what DPH thinks about Wayland. So when you come before the Board of Health, then it's just a matter of, I don't know how tight, I don't know what your budgets are. I don't know if you exceed them, if you meet them, I know
I
you're
think it's,
self-funding.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the issue, I think. is
it's
that-
self-funding, if you're gonna start draining and you're gonna go backwards, you know.
That's the difficulty about our commission, is that
Mhm.
we have a revolving budget,
Mhm.
but we essentially have to pay that back when we make, and you can't always accurately predict how much money is gonna come in.
Mhm.
So any additional costs like this, I think, I mean, I'm the newest person on the thing, but it's,
Isn't
to
it fun?
me, it's great, it's a great.
It is, like, you know, until you see, I
What
can
a six-
honestly say, 61 years in town, but until I've sat in the 2 seats I've sat in, it's like,
Yeah.
I should start waking up at 3 in the morning stressing.
Just for clarification, because obviously, you know, we'll use through the
Yeah.
plan to meet with you, but clarification, one of the things that you all mentioned was the idea would be, you know, a picture gets sent in and someone would come and take a test in order to try to hold off the initial same day closure, right? That's the idea. So is that, from your knowledge, what's happening in Wayland, where they actually won't do the Board of Health saying, hey, we're closing today out of, you know, abundance of caution? They are holding it off.
So the situation in Wayland is, I think, different from ours. So we still need to do some work with the DPH
Mhm.
to confirm that they feel like they can support this approach. In Wayland, I think, from my understanding from looking at the protocols, the thing that they were trying to avoid was having the beach closed because there was a bloom over in another pond, because they had this big body of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so they proposed something which is very similar to ours in terms of is using the test strips to confirm that there's and doing some of the other quantitative tests to confirm at the beach, to confirm that the bloom is not causing toxins
Sure.
at the beach.
Is it to look at?
But my understanding is you're looking with our weekly test to add the strip.
Yes.
So to add the one $34 test, the one strip each week.
Correct.
And my question on that, was actually, it's the same group who's doing that test strip? Or
That's where
your
we,
department's doing it?
we got.
We're doing it?
Yeah, we got. Yeah, that's from plans.
Then,
Yeah.
I believe, and it's not my purview, because I think the Board of Health physically goes down and tests each week, correct?
I believe someone from DPW does the physical.
Okay, so if we have somebody doing physical tests, I
Yeah.
understand the person doing the physical test would also do the strip test. That to me makes the most sense.
And that's what
Yeah,
I
I
would,
think somebody goes to the beach to get a water sample
Okay,
and then arranges it to get it to the labs.
yeah.
Okay.
They're not actually doing any testing.
okay, yeah.
Because that would be my question is, I have, personal views and recreation director views. And as a recreation director, if anything goes wrong, that's where I have to think. Who did the test? Did they do the test according to all the
Correctly.
protocols? Were they certified to do the test? But, all of those steps are what I have to think about. So the way these tests are happening, if we're trying to ask Department of Health to not close us down, while we wait, if anybody gets sick in that meantime, people are gonna analyze this process. So making sure, again, are they certified? Have they done a
Yeah.
online course or a weekend test or whatever it takes to say
There needs to be a chain of custody like this.
Yeah.
is
Yes.
what we did. We didn't throw it in the trunk somewhere or.
Right, and like you said, your sample is
The
a little bit
physical
different.
water samples that we gather for the bodies of water here in town, anytime we send them out, we have to include a chain of custody document with them.
Yeah.
So we have chain of custody for the physical water samples. For the test strips, that's still, again, it's still a little amorphous. We haven't quite figured out if there's requirements for that.
And has anybody reached out to DPH and said, do you approve of these test strips? Or do you have to buy them from X versus over there?
Wayland, their protocol, to the best of my knowledge, has been accepted and approved by Mass DPH.
Okay,
And they were the ones that in their protocol, they specifically listed the Abraxas test strips.
So they have a standard operating procedure, exactly, how to do the strip test.
Not in their protocol.
Well, yeah,
It comes with the strips.
yeah,
Okay.
it comes with the strips and I think they have instructions which they've given. One part of their process is they've actually got some intern to help do this
That's
and
correct.
collect a lot of other information as well.
Right.
But in any case, the intern receives training, lots of training based upon what the protocol shows. For the whole protocol,
Good, sure.
because you're gathering other data.
Okay.
The only other thing I think, when you were again describing, and you're saying the $400 same day and all that, let's say this goes the way that you all are proposing, where we take a picture in the morning, we send it over, they say, we can't say for sure this isn't, then you all say, all right, whoever's doing it, we're gonna run down and do one of these test strips to try to hold off this closure in case it is all okay. And then they do hold it off. In the last few summers that I've worked here, the first test of the 2 required tests usually does happen within a few days.
Mhm.
The only reason last summer it took 4 or 5 days was because it wasn't during such a heat wave, people were going in the water when it was closed. And we can't physically remove them. And so they were saying we can't test because we don't know if it's dissipated because people are just moving it around, but it would still be there. So that is what took multiple days. So the previous years where people actually cleared out of the water, they were there within a day, maybe 2 at most. And so I would
we have a pretty quick chair.
for the first test.
Last summer, MDPH was just absolutely swamped with the same.
Right. And they knew, and we made it clear, people are still swimming, we just can't. So I almost would wonder if we don't need those $400 same day tests. We need the test strip to try to hold off the initial closure. And then we use their regular process, which is usually within a day or two to start their trigger, right? They come in a day or two to do the beginning. Then you keep test stripping in the middle, and then they come 7 days later for their second, which is already their procedure.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. on that.
Have there been cases where bloom has actually persisted more than a day or so near the beach? The couple cases I'm familiar with, especially the last one last year.
Yeah.
I heard about the bloom, I saw your pictures.
Yeah.
I went out there like around noon, same day, it's gone.
And unfortunately, people are swimming all day, because I remember we were emailing about that
Right.
all day.
But
Everybody
there
was
was nothing,
swimming out.
I went out there thinking I was gonna take samples.
Yeah.
Nothing sample.
Yeah. Yeah, we had about 30 people in the water to even know.
So, but just in your experience, is that typical? Or,
A day or two that we'd see it. Sometimes we would see it other places, or DPW, you know, kind of doing more of a scope, would see it like on the far side for longer, kind of that little alcove where people go fishing, but on our side. A day or two.
Playing devil's advocate, I think that if someone sees green stuff in the water, we take pictures of it, we send it to MDPH, they're going to err on the side of caution, and they're going to say, post an advisory, which starts that whole shutdown process.
Yes.
If we see the green stuff in the water, we take a physical water sample of it and get it in that to for quantitative
If we
purposes.
see it, we don't just shut. We test the same, if we can get somebody there, we take our water sample the same day, don't we?
I don't think so, because I don't think we do, because that's not our normal weekly testing. I
Okay.
think we wait
That's
for
what
the
I don't
snakes to
know.
come down.
Because I'm not-
Because I usually meet them there, show their big waders, it's normal.
Okay.
No, but they usually are pretty quick, but no, we do
Yeah.
typically shut down the same day if they're worried about it, just based on the pictures. My hesitation with that is, you know, recreation director and rec is the department saying, as far as we're aware, in coordination with Board of Health, this is safe. So, for instance, last year, we introduced a new, kind of marketing or transparency, stop sign situation where so the policy is every time a, test comes back, a weekly test comes back, fine, clear, green stop sign, you're good to go, we passed. If it ever comes back out of range, we don't actually shut down immediately. If this is just part of our weekly testing,
Right.
we do another, I think, next day or 2 days later, second test. But we have had a failed test, so we do yellow. Hey, everyone know we have a failed test. We're not closing, but know about this.
And this
If
is
this-
E. coli.
This is for the E. coli. And this is to say, we're trying to be transparent. We want you to be able to make your own decisions about your safety and what our current knowledge is. So if we have any knowledge that anything has failed, sure, by policy, we're not closing down, but we want to make sure you know. That's the direction we've been heading.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a test ever came back. Or even if Department of Health said, I can't say based on these pictures, that this isn't something to worry about. I don't know if we can hold off on reporting something to them. And, waiting on those tests.
For the Abraxas test strips, the results come in within an hour. With the physical water sample, that's going to tell us what actual phytoplankton are in the water and the numbers. You're gonna get, if we get the same day results, we would know within, on the same day.
So I guess this is
Say,
my
the
question.
bottom line here is whatever we decide to do will be blessed by the board, the Department of Health.
And MDPH, since they would have to accept our protocol as well.
Yeah, right.
That's when we just go by their guidance.
Yeah.
I mean, we can think whatever we think. So for example, last year, we knew we shut down. Our next test was Monday. They were predicting hot and humid all weekend.
Yeah.
And the board actually met and said, what do you think? And we err on the side of caution.
And that's, and we
You know,
just.
because cytobacteria can be fatal to various individuals.
Something happens.
Yeah, and well,
The time-
personally, you don't want to bury a child. It's not
Well,
fun.
that too.
You know.
It's not fun.
And
No,
I
I
was gonna say that's one of the benefits
Yeah.
to the weekly testing is in strips. is that
Yeah.
that would disclose or
I
alert us to the
love
fact
that.
there were toxins in the
Personally,
water,
I
even though
can't
there
speak
wasn't
for-
a surface flow.
Right. Right, and
Essentially
I
might give
think
us more
anything,
safety.
I can't
Yeah,
speak for the
right.
board,
Yeah.
but personally, anything that gives us more information. Because let me tell you, the first time we shut the beach and people were like out on the boats and splashing and we're thinking, "Eh, can't die, let's go water." You know, the first time we did it, it was frightening. I think people have gotten used to, oh, it's just bacteria again.
Yeah.
You know, we're telling them, no boating. Well, why not? Well, because when you're doing this, you're splashing. You know, and their dog gets in and gets out and shakes all over them, and
It's worse for the pets, yeah.
it really is worse for the pets, and
And that's where, you know, the test strips gives us a qualitative result. Whether the cyanotoxins are below target limits or above, or non-existent. And then the quantitative tells us exactly what's in there. So we're trying to help the Board of Health
Yeah.
and you guys make a decision based on science.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of this idea. It could give us more safety, you know, knowing,
Yes.
like you're just saying, if, even if there's no bloom, knowing if something's happening, and more accurate closures. And obviously, again, in line with Department of Health saying, you know, they've signed up on all this. You know, again, as the person there in the morning, when I get the text from my lifeguard, because they are the ones in the morning, they walk the line of the beach and they look for this every morning, when they're cleaning the beach. And obviously other people, you know, are around too. But those are the texts we get, and we get it at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. And our summer program is swimming by 10 a.m., 11 a.m. So the details of this process, I think, are going to be important, because it's nice to say same day, but are we closing that day, that same day? Are we staying open until this test result comes back for the, 100 children that are swimming that day, plus the general public? Those details, I think, need to be worked out, before we can
Yeah.
kind of say, like, let's try it.
The beauty of what we sent you is it's a draft.
Right,
We can make
right.
any changes to it that we so desire.
And again, I'm in favor, these are just the things that we would need to figure out.
right, and to me, and like I said, my personal opinion, because I can't speak for the board, but any testing we get, even if we do a trial run this summer and we don't necessarily leave it open or shut it, but if we get a test strip that says, hey, we've got this bacteria, nobody's seen it yet, that's very helpful too.
Yeah.
So if you say, okay,
Get someone.
I'm gonna, every Tuesday, we're gonna test. If we don't see a bloom every Tuesday, but this is,
Yeah.
it would be up to it would be interesting to get the results.
Yes.
And
Is there any way, when you find the bloom down 12 feet?
Yep.
Is there any way to remove it?
There are ways, but it's
The
not inexpensive.
way you nodded, I thought, okay.
It's not inexpensive.
Okay.
We are, we really think about long term,
Hmm.
like how do we talk about management, because it's not just heat community, it's a lot of it's storm under runoff. and
Yeah.
all the
If this is
et cetera.
right,
There's a lot of
That has to
things
be-
for us to be looking at,
Right.
but we feel like it would be great to put, with all this studying and data that we're doing, to do something to help the recreation this summer, right? What can we put in place that might help prevent so many closures this summer? It's possible that this, I don't really.
We might close more.
We know what the lower limit of this spot test is, or the litmus test is, that we're gonna pick up levels that are below the requirement to give concern when we don't need to. We
Yeah,
might
so
not be
essentially the strip test,
Yeah,
they'll need to, they'll disclose concentrations over 2.5 parts per billion. The trigger is 8 parts per billion.
yeah,
And you can use the strips
Yeah,
and you can use the strips and a control strip with a known, so from a.
There's basically a color chart
to
that
get
compares
that
a
more-
strip against.
Sure.
well, that's what I mean. It makes sense because there have been times we've closed out of an abundance of caution under DPA tracks. So.
And that's,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Obviously,
if
we're having
if
them
we
here.
see, so if we're gonna do this, like I said, it's caused by hot and humid. So if we start testing, but yet we find that it only blooms after 3 days, not 2 days, You know what I mean? Or it's only, I don't know what, you know?
Yeah,
But if you can look at the weather and say, okay,
Yeah.
boy, if every time we had a huge issue, it was after X, Y, and Z specifically.
Yeah.
You know, it was after a big rainstorm, or it was after,
Yeah.
something like this or something, you know, then
Yeah.
those things, if we have weather like that, then you go down and you put a test strip in. An additional test strip, but like I said, it's all up to DPH and the board, but.
And the test strip, I'm assuming, you know, it's semi-similar to a chlorine pool strip that you put in and you go, okay, do I need
and you
more
compare,
hardness, do I need more alkalinity, do I need pH? That's
Very
right.
much like the COVID testing.
It is.
It's the lines.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
it's the line.
It's just a line of, yeah, with a particular color.
Right, exactly.
Okay. No, that's right. Okay.
Because you're essentially testing for just one thing, and that is the toxin.
Okay.
And depending upon how, well, I haven't read one, so I'm not gonna try to describe how to read one, but basically you're just testing for the one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
and back to your question, Laura, you know, about environmental triggers that cause these blooms. There's an awful lot of other factors in there, the water chemistry. If the pH goes above a certain level, or the oxygen level drops, and we release phosphorus into the water, there's just so many variables.
And there's so many,
Did the sun come up this morning?
well, you know, people don't realize there's still a lot of cesspools in town.
Yeah.
And everything runs downhill sooner or later, and one of the biggest contaminants is laundry detergent.
And
You
that's
know, there
another,
are still people with dry wells,
that's another thing.
and it goes somewhere,
Uh-huh.
you know?
What can we do to,
I,
you know, prevent bad stuff from happening in our ponds?
my previous job was as a court stenographer, and I remember taking, I followed Mass Department of Environmental Protection, and I didn't know that every time you see a pond lily, it's caused by feces and phosphates. I was
Trust
like,
me, we've got.
so now I used to think they were great, and now I see them and I'm like, oh.
Well, you know, like that little pond over by the cemetery on,
Yes, Lots of pond lilies,
and
right across from the.
again, that's another, that's another
That's a different-
subject that,
No,
our
but
committee is looking at and.
interesting.
So, okay.
If you implement something like this, I think it's gonna be interesting to track this over a number of years.
Mhm.
And like you said, monitor, was it raining? What was the temperature? New houses that went in that have big lawns, these kind of things, and try and anticipate what might happen. And then mitigation, right, is, I looked online about mitigation strategies that are sold. And like you said, they're not cheap,
Yeah.
but it might, in the long run, it might be cheaper than having to send same day tests out like every whenever.
And I agree. And
You know, and clean the nutrients that these cyanobacteria use and that kind of thing.
I
So,
think there is some impact on your revenues
right,
when there are closures, advisories.
I think there's an impact too, if people think, oh my God, I'm not going there because it's always closed. And
Yeah,
they may not
there's that.
understand the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were like, oh, it never closed when we were kids. No. In the seventies, they could throw us in anything.
Because back
Oh,
then,
this
they
is-
didn't know. They know today.
God knows what we were all swimming in.
Uh-huh.
One thing I want to do with this protocol is I want our committee and your commission and your board working together to, you know, come up with what's going to be in the best interest of the town of Upton and the health of our citizens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, that sounds like, you know, I'm getting on the, you know, on the drum head and, but no, that's,
Yeah, no.
it's real.
And it's, when I wear the select board hat, I keep saying, we all need to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because somebody's doing this and somebody's doing that, and we should be doing it together and combining our efforts, so.
But
Was the goal or elected just to limit the length of these closures, but still maintain a safe situation for the users? Yeah, I think we can do that.
yeah, and maintain the health of the pond
Yes.
in the long.
Sure.
I was happy to work with you guys too. I'm a trained microbiologist, so I know how the assay works and the.
Okay.
And
Oh, here's our tester.
happy to do that. So it's, you know, so
I should send you the results of, the past 2 years of the water quality sampling that we've done in Pratt. A lot of it's rudimentary, mostly, phytoplankton and chloro. But the dissolved oxygen and I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but it fascinates me.
Yeah.
What we keep coming up with, and I keep pinging on Mike and, with.
I'm used to.
What does this mean? What does this mean?
I'm used to looking at that kind of stuff, so, yeah, I'd be happy to take a look.
So we're only talking Pratt, right?
Yeah.
So I know we mentioned that we found it in Wildwood as well, but we're not doing anything there at this point. That's
At this point.
that level of testing.
Yes.
And I can tell you, for a fact, the Board of Health does not test Wildwood because it's not
Swimming.
exactly.
One thing,
Yes.
actually, I need to ping you all on, but the Department of Health website has like a list of Massachusetts beaches and if their waterways are open or closed. And when something about Wildwood was showing up as Upton Town Beach on that website, and people kept thinking Kiwanis, Rat Pond was closed. So we'll have to work on that. I got a lot of calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of calls. Is it closed still? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, hopefully that, we can, truck on down the road here and actually make some of this happen. I think, I think there's benefits to this. And looking at this protocol, again, it's just a draft right now. We can adjust it, we can change it, we can add, subtract, to make it work in our best interests.
Sure. I believe DPW still does a retreatment. I think we've got a contract for a retreatment.
Well,
every year.
we've been doing it every year, and every year we have to do a request for proposals, request
Yeah.
for quotes.
Okay.
Yes, we don't have a contract as such.
Oh, okay,
The contracts run year to year,
got it.
and so I have to requote it, have
Got
to
it.
quote them quotes every year, which is tedious.
And is there, so saying that though, is there something else that could be added into that quote where it's the weed treatment plus?
Like for
Right.
radiation.
Yes. Right? I mean, I don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
It's worth looking into, I think, to see what the cost would be to have
I mean, I understand that.
cyanobacteria.
It comes back to budget and everything else, and I understand that part of it too, right? But, we all
I
know.
can certainly ask for some quotes. Our current budget
I understand.
doesn't account for it.
I got you.
Maybe something,
Oh,
if you give a year of data or 2 years of data, maybe it's something
Yeah.
that we could then show a need for.
Well, and we'll put it on
If I
town,
could,
that we'd like to remediate the bloom and
Yeah,
this is what it's gonna be, and we'd like funded.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Laura.
All right.
Yes.
Laura, yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, we've had sightings of what we thought were algae blooms a few times over the last several years. And I don't think if at any time we've ever come up with numbers that were anywhere near the minimum that is required for a necessary closure. I believe that the highest they ever were was 7,000 rather than 70,000. And then again, after that, 5,000. But the testing that we do is deeper and in different places, and that's where we're finding it. So I think I'm really glad we're coming up with another protocol, but I think we want to remember that in the past, there hasn't been anything in the swimming area. And there were several things that look like algae blooms that aren't. So whenever we see something, and when they're doing that walk in the morning, I think it would be really great if we could educate them at least to know that doesn't mean it's necessarily that. Because the word does get out quickly and reputations are damaged quickly, especially as the impact that it has on the beach program. We don't want to overreact, sort of thing. So I'm thrilled. I'm hoping that we're deciding to go with this extra testing, and no pond is more tested, I don't think, in the whole state than Pratt Pond, except maybe Wayland. So we do, every pond may have what we have, it's just we tested so we know kind of thing. But I also want us to be cautious because all these times that it looked like an algae bloom of danger, it hasn't been. So I think it's important to remember that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in large parts, the purpose of the protocol is to avoid unnecessary.
Yeah,
cooking.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if we're talking about an extra weed treatment, what we're talking about is putting alum in there. Is that what we'd be adding to the weed treatment, Bill?
Mike, is that the tip?
Well, that would be, to reduce phosphorus. Yeah, that would be the treatment. It wouldn't be every year.
Yeah.
If we decided to do that.
Do you know if there's a treatment to, in fact, kill the bacteria?
That's a cascading effect, because you treat for
They
the
are sensitive to phosphorus. So there are places where they treat.
But actually, the alum thing was just, it would reduce growth as opposed to completely.
Yeah, right, that's, not to get too technical, but Pratt Pond stratifies every summer. So there's a warmer water, there's a layer of water on top, a layer on the bottom. The water in the bottom is anoxic. And under anoxic conditions, phosphorus is released from sediment. And when that phosphorus is released, we have an algal bloom, right? And it's a benthic mass right on the bottom of the pond. And it's so far, since we've been studying it, it's a species called Oscillatoria, or genus called Oscillatoria. So we have this very substantial bloom occurring at depth.
Hmm.
And it's occurring, I think, because of the phosphorus release on anaerobic conditions.
Yeah,
And what the alum treatment do is, if we decide to do that, Tom decided to do that, then bind the phosphorus more strongly. So less of it released during.
Are anaerobic conditions more common during heat and humidity? Is that's what, because usually that's. what
yeah, because that's when the bolts trigger and stir everything up. If I'm following where you're going.
And the warmer day, the heat, very warm days are more likely to allow the pond to stratify. Because what the reason it stratifies is there's a temperature difference.
Okay.
And the density of the water is different at different temperatures, and it doesn't mix.
Okay.
And I mean, I would say warmer, hotter days in the summer probably make the stratification stronger. So it's less likely to break down by wind.
Looking at the dissolved oxygen content, we're primarily testing, it's site P1.
Mhm.
And you get down to the 12-foot level and the dissolved oxygen just absolutely craters.
Wow.
It goes from, say, 5 parts per million at 6 feet down to 0.5 parts per million at 12 feet. And it's striking differences.
And then the phosphorus level goes way up. Between surface versus the bottom, phosphorus level is much higher at the bottom.
Yeah.
Fascinates me. It's really cool stats.
How many strips come in the kit?
20.
Well, but I'm also thinking, we're usually open for 12 weeks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's on the high side, knowing that we
Yeah,
kind of
eight.
ends before the camp really gets on.
They expire, they have a shelf life on those strips, so you wouldn't want to hold over strips from this year.
Yeah,
From use for next year. And in the proposal that you sent, I've, kind of throwing darts. And I figured we may use up to say, if we have a bloom and we go into the more aggressive protocol and more daily testing, we could use up to 3 tests per year. So you're talking about maybe $1,200 just for the test strips. Routine testing would probably, if we don't get any blooms, fingers crossed. And the summer is good. Less than $1,000 for the year for the testing.
Just for some perspective on a typical year, how much revenue, the revenue of the beach program that happened?
I can tell you.
Just, you know,
I was gonna say.
Last year
That's our
was
next-
low, 18,000.
18.
Last year was low, and we were about 18,000.
Is that just revenue from beach passes and daily passes versus kids at fight?
Yeah.
Correct, not
You know,
good.
CBA,
Yeah,
this
just
this would be,
So this is not the camp at all? That's not.
Right, that number is just, general public going to the beach.
Yeah.
that are daily.
That's good. And so kids at play, if there's a closure, I'm assuming you basically just try some other activities.
Right, so we don't actually close the program down.
Okay.
Yeah, we stay open, but we do offer, no fee refunds. We get some, you know, it's
Yeah.
not a landslide, but
Okay.
some people, especially on the hottest days, they'll say, I got a neighbor with a pool, I'll pull my kid out that day.
You also have a tiny bit of savings, because sometimes you don't have concerts this year.
This year,
With the
one
boards.
concert got canceled because of it. The band basically said it's going to be almost 100 degrees, and if people aren't gonna show up because the water's closed, they don't want to come to play an empty concert. That's, you know, 97 degrees.
Yeah,
They're like,
everything's trade-offs.
yeah.
that hasn't happened any other year.
Yeah, that was the first time.
Yeah.
Unique one, that's.
But yeah, I mean, there is definitely some lost revenue. I wouldn't say it's massive, but there's definitely some.
How's the morale of the families and the kids when you?
Yeah, that's harder, and I think this past year was even harder because it was the longest closure we've had because of the push off of the start of that 7-day trigger.
Yeah,
Because of people in the water and,
Yeah, and this is
Traffic
getting to
calm
what
down.
Lori was talking about. You don't
Yeah.
want that.
correct.
And you
Yeah.
it's so impact and
Yeah.
perception, this pond is getting dirtier every year, I can't.
Yeah.
and it was like the heart of the heat wave. I mean, exactly. Morale was,
Yeah.
was tough. And some other local programs were not closed down. So we lost some, but again, there's a trade-off. I think we gained some trust and we lose some morale.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'd love to keep trust and not close. That would be ideal.
This could be another tool to use to, you know.
Transparency, right?
And it's a tough decision for our board as well,
Mhm.
you know, but
No one wants it to happen.
no, but no one wants anyone to get sick. And,
Sure.
you know, so.
We can help the board with
I agree.
science.
I think the science needs to be there, and as long as DPH is fine with it, and,
Yeah.
you know, realize that, both Farrell and Quinn have medical backgrounds. And Quinn's a scientist, so he will understand all of this much more than me.
Yeah, and actually from the test strip and the numbers and all that type of stuff, that's probably something we could, just thinking we can build into that color stop time.
And yeah, again,
To
transparency.
see what the numbers are, right? And saying, you know, hey, we've seen this, we're putting up, we're showing this as yellow, but here's the numbers behind it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Because
you know,
the-
it's
the
like,
Strips stay here, right? But we're not sending strips out, we're just doing a,
Yeah.
it's just a
Like you
testing
said,
and
now
some
And some
raising it thereafter and saying, here's.
Yes,
this is where science changes and the Board of Health has done something
Picture of the box.
historically, and now something better, maybe.
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to present.
Yes.
Perfect. And I think that's why your committee was funded, and we said, yes, please test.
Do we, do the
I
samples
have
get taken?
one,
Go ahead, Lori.
I have one quick question about, it seems to me that if there's a sighting of something like this, there should be someone who can say to people, you must come out of the water now, because as soon as it dissipates, we want to test and find out. So the idea that I know the camp kids you can get out of the water, but there's other people there. Isn't there a town official, a police officer, head of the DPW, somebody who can say, you must clear the beach? I mean, we do it when there's a threat from weather, and it seems to me that there ought to be a way to clear the beach so the testing can be done more efficiently. So
I
it
think
doesn't get broken up by
Short-
dogs or
short of a
whatever.
police officer in uniform, our protocol is, you know, beach director does a sweep, I do a sweep, maybe beach director does another sweep, we communicate with everybody, we're blowing whistles, we're pulling people out without physically picking somebody up and moving them,
Right.
you know, or calling the police on them. But they are informed of the health risks, they're making their own decisions. We have had people in tornado warnings swimming.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Just.
yeah, that everyone's informed, and at that point, we figure they're adults or they're adults in charge of the children, and there's, I guess I could call the cops, I
Well,
have.
sure.
You have to
Yeah.
use the teacher voice.
Amazing when they see it.
Yeah.
The one other question I was gonna ask, so if the weekly, say we're doing the weekly sample and the strip at the same time, will it be taken from the same spot? Would we actually try to do it where we get this one sample from, say we did it from the left side of the swim area, and then you go and do the strip at the right side of the swim area, type of thing, right? Therefore, you kind of, is there?
Isn't the blooms always been at the right side facing the water?
Mostly, yeah, it has been on the left before, but I think we see it more often on the right.
I think that's what our.
Yeah, so it's funny because I would have, so
that is
I'm
very-
with you because there probably isn't as much movement where the left side of the area, one would think that gets the majority of the runoff and everything else, where something else could be there, right? So it's just how you mind things,
That's
how I mind things.
way back, breaking it up.
Yeah, I think on the right, it gets stuck in those little.
And
Okay.
let's say this week we test on the left, next week we test on the right, kind of alternate. It's,
Yeah, I just,
Well, I think where you would, in absence of bloom, I think where you would test is people.
the center.
Yeah. Where's most likely to be loaded.
yeah, I don't know, I don't know who's done the testing and where they go and they take the sample from, how deep and.
I do have a call into Julia, I can't remember her last name, and also begins with a J. She is the Board of Health Director over in Wayland, and I have not heard back from her. I asked them for their experiences and, lessons learned kind of thing, but I have not heard back from her yet.
When did you reach out?
Yesterday.
Okay. So I was just gonna
Yeah,
say, if it was a
Yeah.
situation where it's been a week or two now, I'd have our Board of Health, because sometimes, But yeah, if you don't hear by the end of the week,
I was gonna
I
say,
mean, then it
Let's
was
let's give it a little,
Yeah.
till the end of the month-ish.
Yeah, maybe the end of the month, the whole rest of the month is shot with all that,
That's, that's
Yeah.
one.
but.
But, this is new to us as well.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to gather as much information. as-
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear from Wayland. I'd also like to hear from the folks in Worcester who have,
In Sigma.
in Quinsigamon, they also have a cyanobacteria protocol and monitoring system in place over there.
Have you all talked to
Yeah.
any towns or have heard of any towns that rejected this idea?
No, not yet. I don't know how many towns actually have a cyanobacteria protocol in place. The two that I know of are on Quinsigamon and Cochituate.
No, I think most towns follow the same process. we do.
Yeah, I was just chatting with Grafton and they do what we do and yeah.
Yeah, I saw-
Charting new territory.
But we were concerned about the amount of shutdown and the length of the shutdown. That's when we started trying to research
Yeah.
other methods, such as strip test, spot test, or whatever, the qualitative methods for RAP, and that's when we learned. Actually, it wasn't it the Department of Public Health that told us about, they're the ones that referred us to Wayland.
They do.
Yeah, so we had that conversation with them, and I think Diane was involved, we went with Diane, and then they said, oh, this is what Wayland's do, and we're like, oh, this is what we want to talk to. Yeah, because we were in that place, like, there's gotta be something better than shut the pond down for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
otherwise you never had to shut down at all.
Yeah, sure.
So the next steps for this conversation, should we meet with you guys again at our normal rec meeting next month or?
I would say, I will send an email to the board, I will notify them what went on tonight, I think it's being recorded, we should be able to see it.
Yeah.
And, we'll have a meeting and we'd like somebody to come in and probably present this. I'm gonna suggest that, I don't know if you guys know, Diane officially retired, she's training her replacement for 2 weeks till the end of the month, so. And of course, Matt is being pounded with 42 years of internal knowledge. And so, anyhow, but I'll have them reach out to the people at Worcester, the people at Wayland, see what they think, because we have all the
Yeah.
contacts.
Okay.
You know,
When's your next meeting?
we don't set them, we set them when need be. We had one Tuesday.
I'm more than happy to come and
Yeah.
make the same sales pitch again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got all the paperwork and we've seen it, and I know Quinn especially was very interested to come, but like he said, oh, it's right in the middle of bedtime. And,
Well, if you all are
So I
able
would say
to,
we've concentrated on the Wayland. So this is a page from the Worcester Cyanobacteria Monitoring Collaborative. And I like this statement here. The group is a volunteer community of scientists that is developing ways to assess risk to exposure using fast and low-cost methods.
yeah,
There we go.
if you all are able to kind of sort out some of the, more details that I think we brought up, if you've had a chance to do that, I think I'd like to join that meeting too, so that we
yeah,
kind of,
we will call. you.
rather than then you have to bounce back to us and then.
Well, I-
Yeah, let's
Just
just,
gonna put it
In
together.
my opinion, the next step is going to rest with the board of health.
yeah, and of course, like I said, we can't, you all know, you can't
can't
make
make
any
any
decisions.
Right.
Until we're there, but I think, Board of Health should be able to call a meeting, say the second week or so of January. Usually we try to do it during the day. We'll copy everybody in, see if we can find a time. We'll have a meeting and, present this. If the board says, yes, this is great. In the meantime, I'll have them look out to Wayland and Worcester, especially knowing that there's a collaborative, a cyanobacteria collaborative. Which is great, because that means that they've probably done 90% of the footwork.
Mhm.
And then it's just a matter of if it meets DPH protocol. So there'll be a few steps, but if we can get the information together and we can have a meeting, Board of Health can have a meeting just on this issue.
And let's say,
When are budgets due?
Oh, really sooner than we think.
Yeah. What timeline might
Bill,
be
do you
tight?
know? Because I know you work.
I'm assuming that probably by the end of January.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so if we have numbers, but if they reach out in the meantime, that's why I said the second week of January. Maybe if we've reached out to these other people and got some idea of numbers, because hey, I've learned you can always put a placeholder in and then change it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but we would need to budget for it because last year everybody was told the level fund. So, that becomes some of.
so
the
when do we
issue.
bring FinCom in?
I don't know. Not till everything's been decided.
Yes, you have to show something to them.
Okay,
You would
let's-
have to show it to
Yeah.
them, especially, and it depends too, that we explain our budgets, they justify the budgets, but if we were to put a motion on town meeting floor.
Right now, it wouldn't go anywhere because we don't have, as much information as we would then like
Right.
to present.
Right, so that's what I mean, we may be able to do part of it, some of it this summer, and then say, because then you can always come back in November and say, hey, everybody's complaining about the beach being shut. We've been doing the same shutdown for the last
Mhm.
100 years.
Yeah.
And now there's science, because now we've learned,
Trying to
and
present
there's
it.
other towns doing this, and we need to.
And financial
Yeah,
costs. to the-
$1
The cost, yeah.
What, remind me what, 600 for $1?
$675.24.
So maybe that's the backup,
And
plan,
that's the
right? Like if all of
2026
this can't
2026
roll
price.
fast enough to get a whole 1,200, maybe 600, and we just say once a
Oh,
week,
yeah.
so that next year we have data, right? We're not gonna do anything with it, but once a week, all summer, you test, we buy one box, and then.
And we
next year
may be
decide,
able
look,
to,
what happened?
between between the two boards, we may be able to say, look, if you guys can add 500 or 675, 25 there, maybe the Board of Health can find 1,200. And together, because we do work together.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know people don't think we are. but we are.
And I would argue that the Lakes Ponds and Streams Committee can probably contribute.
Okay, that would be great too. Yeah, I mean, we'll all work together. I think
Mhm.
we all have the same goal.
Right.
It's just, like I said, the Board of Health doesn't things change and, you know, and they're gonna really change because Matt's very young. So,
Wait till we need alum treatment then.
yeah. Do you know the ballpark for that, Sally? Just
Everybody does here.
I don't know the ballpark cost.
I think
because la, la, la.
Yeah.
And it would be, yeah, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
But it's actually a good point. We could go to the Maytown.
Yeah.
Once, because at that point, I think we may have some very definitive numbers.
Yeah,
And to the
exactly.
extent that we haven't built them into our budgets.
Exactly, but I think too that one never knows what town meeting's gonna do, but everybody's livid that we shut the beach. We are almost, you know, we followed the
Yeah.
historical protocol. So if we can say, look, we like this, so we may not shut the beach as much, I think it would be huge. I can't imagine.
We're trying to do this for you folks so that the
Yeah.
beach stays
So you
open.
could sell our mediation that we're gonna try and prevent these things
Yes,
in the beginning.
So it's good. Costly upfront, but long-term,
Yellow.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we're testing and
Yeah,
there are traces
Transparency,
here, but
safety, less closures.
and then too, as long as DPH is fine with it, because they're really the ones that we report to and they say yes, no, or. We have
Do
to
we
do
do
it.
that?
quantitative testing.
40 acres, okay. Because I looked up I did some research on reducing nutrients, and there are some organic ways of doing that. That are microbial based, enzymatic based. You can buy the stuff to put in the water. And it's safe for people to swim and do all that stuff after you put this in, but it's, you buy these allotments per acre of pond surface. Put it in. So I can look more into that. 40 acres, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it looked pretty interesting.
Well, anything we can do to
Can
help.
I ask you about the semi-quant test? Is that a different test?
No, actually, the way that works is you buy vials of
Standard.
standard. So this has a, concentration of 0, this has a concentration of 10. And then you basically put the test strip in the sample and the test strip in the known control, and then you hold them up. Oh, they're the same, so it must be 10 parts per billion.
okay.
Cool.
It's like a density for the power thing. or something.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because it gets later.
Yes, well, I see like that because I had to manage the entire COVID testing at Touchstone.
Yeah.
Oh, how fast that came out. That was like.
The minute you do that, you're like, ooh.
Put your mask back on.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so it'd be good. Going towards that semi-quantitative stage, if we can have a skilled person to be able to do that. You know, there's a little color test too, where it's kind of like a shade of color. If we're able to get there, that's better, because I raise a concern that it's gonna be below the limit, and yes, it's gonna be caution, and then it's like,
Mhm.
we're still having that problem, right? Where we don't need to shut down, but we are raising alarm, and it's.
Well, and I think too,
Well,
honestly,
Yeah.
and you'd be amazed how many people never look at the website.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I think people with
Anyone
kids
see our
there.
stop signs?
No, no, I have actually had people say, how on earth am I supposed to know when the meetings are? Oh, I don't know. Up to mass.gov, first page, calendar.
Mhm.
You just gotta click. And it's like, and actually I had somebody call me up and say, can't you just call me?
you wouldn't like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I am not doing anything and
I can make
I do the
calls a
whole,
day.
yeah, because the fame and the fortune and the $500 a year really.
Any other questions for us? I don't mean,
That's interesting.
Yeah, I liked your summary. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when we send out the invite for the Board of Health, we'll do lakes and ponds
Please.
and recreation. And we'll just send it out and say, hey, what do you think about these dates?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, they should be able to find it, so.
And if you guys get on this again, I'd love to be a part of that too as well.
So we meet on the first Monday. And this will definitely be on our agenda.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It is definitely, yeah, first Monday, second, and then out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then sometime this winter, the prep fund management plan should come out draft. We'll definitely be looking for the.
Yeah.
comments on that.
What is that coming up already? Parts of it.
Parts of it, yeah.
Well, there's a ways to go.
Yeah, yeah.
All
All right, very good.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah, bye. All right.
With the Patriot, they get paid towards that game? Like,
I need to change my background.
No, the referees did.
I
They
haven't
put a-
actually
a
watched.
different team on in the second half? Are these the same people?
All right, so, before we jump into this, I just wanna remind all of us, or we do it first, that we do have to figure out Christina, meaning yoga teacher, and volleyball pay, just because I think that's something that if we're gonna do it, we should start in January.
Yeah.
So I just don't wanna forget, because I don't want to go through.
Okay.
Because obviously we're doing an abbreviated,
Yes,
this, but, anyway, so let's just all remember that we still have to talk about that. So I wrote up basically my notes in that email to you all, about kind of the points that I wanted to specifically point out. And then I also just put the notes here so that we could remember.
Yep.
But typically our visual is fine, but it's this, but it's the same tracking visual,
Yeah.
as the other one. So, I'm just gonna stay on our tracking, which we've been using because it's really about the same. So the main points we wanted to point out, going to income and expenses. So the thing I ran into is basically our stuff wasn't matching up with Kenny's, which is typical, but they were way off. As you can see, some of these are still pretty far off,
Mhm.
but, I sort of redid everything and went line by line. So what is in our tracking doc is line by line exactly what is in Kenny's, like budget item by budget item. So I don't know if these numbers include something about like the yearly rollover, because it's a revolving fund. I'm not really sure, but I did it 2 times and, highlighted everything, and you unhighlight when you check off the one on Kenny's report, and everything was unhighlighted and all that. So I don't know.
Okay.
But it's, kind of it's a little bit of a different story. This one looks obviously better, but basically if we go by the numbers that which are just the ones that I didn't understand a little bit better because we can actually break it down by program. So I'm gonna go based off of these. Basically, we were 21,000 over, and that could be 1-to-1 connected with that sports tech having to roll over onto this year.
Yeah.
So if we look at Penny's numbers, then we're still 20,000 over.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know, were we 20,000 under last year, or sorry, over last year? Is that what we're?
I think we were in other areas as well, right? Because remember, we all were in, lifeguard pay.
Yeah.
Right,
And I
and
think the lifeguard pay gets pulled,
yes,
so that we were over in rec revolving because the lifeguard pay having to be supplemented from.
correct.
Yeah,
So
and that happened
he did some
this
internal
year.
transfers, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming that happened. Well, but that's part of this, right?
It doesn't show up. There's no line item on the rec revolving. He has a journal entry when you're looking at the other
I
accounts.
get it,
Yeah,
and I think that.
and I have it all printed. I can pull them. I must have them on the
But I believe that that's part of where that discrepancy is coming from.
So you
And
think those are the journal entries
I think
that
that, I
don't
think
show?
the difference
Okay.
there is the journal entries. Right, because he's even
The
told
journal
us,
entries, it's like.
so,
On the,
so for like the. If one of the other pages, is one of the other pages the lifeguards one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the lifeguards one for 2025 should show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So what I did is I didn't put that in here because I didn't see it on the rec revolving. So I figured, don't pull it out here if you're not gonna pull it out there and just show us as the loss.
Okay,
That's last fiscal year's.
that's
Yeah.
last fiscal year's spend.
So basically,
Yeah, right.
we
Right.
had, because these are not revolving accounts. So
Right.
these are just. we
This,
had
this
budgeted
was a
for
fixed line
32.
dedicated piece
Yeah.
and went over by like 5.
Yeah, we budgeted 32, we spent 37, you know.
Right.
So what Kenny did is he pulled this, let's call it 4,800 from rec revolving
Mhm.
to cover us here because this isn't a revolving fund. This is just, you can't go over.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have it shown as light items on the rec revolving
Yeah,
to say minus.
yeah,
He only has it shown on the
right,
beach line.
yes,
So that could make sense for that, what that is there.
part of it.
So part of it, right? So for example, yeah, like he has, and he does it, the math doesn't make a ton of sense. Cause I never understand what Kenny's doing, but basically he has it with a couple different numbers.
Yeah.
But it's not 4,800.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I don't know what it is, but it's not that. But it does still zero out. So he did something
To zero.
to zero it out. But again, all of his line items are here and I just left us in a deficit instead of showing the zeroing out because I couldn't show it on the right side.
Yeah, I did, okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. So he puts in the budget. So he initially issues a credit to
Right.
the account
Right.
of the 32 to,
Yeah, starting balance.
okay. Yeah, and then, and boom, all of those are down.
Yeah.
Um,
And then when we get
And then-
close to the end of the year, he says, uh-oh, it looks like you're trending over.
correct. And he transferred like $8,500 in,
Right,
of which we used.
right.
So his numbers, so your numbers are showing a 37, right?
Right.
And his numbers are coming to a 40,700.
And yet, where am I off? Because I have everything listed there that he's listed there.
Hmm.
And then I even, because I did this one year, I double clicked, right? Do I not have them all captured? Well, actually, this time it was true, but I've checked that before and that isn't typically the answer. So that helped us a little bit, but usually that's not the full story.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, we can make decisions, that's why I put, these are all his numbers, I pretty much just, originally, when we were checking this and we were talking about it during the year, I pulled the numbers that I was submitting on the report from SUBDA, because that's what I would submit to payroll, and so I was like, that's what's getting paid out.
Yeah.
Those numbers aren't reflected here.
Yes, we're missing the payroll. It can't start at 7/12.
Mm.
The first one there,
I understand.
Yeah.
But it doesn't start at 7. You and I both know there's a 7/5.
Yeah.
There, that equals the difference. Right, and that 7/5 one was probably around that. When you look across the bow, you go, that's $4,000 to $5,000.
but then my question is, how is this report,
I understand.
which lists this, still spitting out this number, right?
Yes.
Like, it would be one
So-
thing if both reports were wrong,
I-
because we're missing 7.5.
Correct, but because the bottom line number has the 40,700.
Yeah.
Something's hidden somewhere. Or showing up on a different page or something that says, hey, you missed your 7/5 payroll window.
The hard thing is, I think the 7.5 payroll, 7.5 payout would be from dates in June.
But I don't.
The
think-
7.12 payout would be
No,
dates in,
I don't think so. And the only reason being,
right?
so to counter that, your dual entry 630 payroll,
Yeah,
right? One's the adjustment or a partial adjustment probably for some of the dollars, right? But the second one is like a day or two after the 6/27 one. And why in the world, Wouldn't 627 be a hell of a lot higher?
We
When
wouldn't
did we
have
start?
started, no. We would,
Yeah, that would have been the first week.
but again, you pay out, so like if I work, so like our dates today, right? If I work. If I work last week, so the 6th to the 12th, then I get paid this Friday, the 19th. So the dates that are the whatever to the 20th, those days worked are on the 27th. That's the date.
Okay, so those were we opened up weekends early.
Yeah, so we got a couple
So
trickle and maybe our,
The 150,
director.
the 156 and the 620, those are the training where you paid people to come in and do stuff and.
and I think we had like a rainy season. So
Yeah.
it should be a
Yeah,
little bit
that's-
higher than this, but it,
No, but,
yeah.
but feasibly, school got out, we really only had the 1 week before we got into July. Right?
Oh, was this the one where the snow days pushed it and we canceled week 1? Was that just last year?
Yeah, but we didn't I don't think we had that many snow days. I think there was just this,
I think we started on
I-
like a Thursday or something.
yeah, but I think they got out of school like on the Tuesday or Wednesday.
But I'm just saying, again, so then we wouldn't have had the big hit until then the following. Anyway,
Yes.
and because everything's closed out, I was doing this, that's why I kept,
Well,
I kept deleting, I was like, this is wrong.
But I think that's where I was going with the 14, because I
Right.
think he was trying to say, these are other ones that were actually accrued during the last fiscal year, and therefore we're paying that dollar out.
Right.
So we can keep the yearly buckets.
Right, if you're only, if you're working on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the year cuts off, we have to pay you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next
That's one.
fiscal year will be Friday, Saturday,
Yes,
So, no, I totally agree
yes,
with
he
all
does do that.
that. It's, well, it means
Welcome to town government.
I have to submit,
It's like,
technically, I made a mistake last year because I didn't pay the school bus of the first field trip during FY '24.
Oh, yeah,
Because we use the same school bus company and they just sent the packet
Yeah.
invoices at the end of the summer.
yeah.
And so that was a mistake, and sorry, got looped into FY '25, but anyways, those things have to close everything else. We have to do 1 week of camp, 1 week of concerts, 1 week of field trips, 1 week of,
All right, so,
so.
so
anyway, I've been doing the same thing you've been doing, and then I basically finally said, I have to stop because we can't change anything, right? If we figure it out, nothing's gonna change, so.
Yeah.
These are the reports, when you put in, show me FY '25, this is what spits out.
Yeah.
So I just basically pretty much restarted, deleted everything, put in his numbers exactly. And here we are. The hard thing is, again, we're not matching up 1 for 1.
Yep.
I don't know why. I don't know. But we have to just go based off of either his numbers or these numbers, but luckily nothing's except for rec revolving. Where we're looking at that, are we 20,000 or 40,000 off? Because 20,000 would again be the tennis courts.
Right.
Explanation. 40,000 means we're still over.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I thought we were tracking to that 293 number, right? At least that's the number that I had in my mind from that July, August, that August, September timeframe, especially when we had Laura's kind of all hands open
Right.
meeting and
Yeah.
and Paul coming up and, well, if you have this much money, you're only allowed to spend that much money.
Right.
You can't go over.
Yeah.
Right? And he did that a couple times,
Yeah.
kind of slapping, I took it personally.
So this is, and we have this conversation every time.
Yeah.
And Dennis pinged me this week and said, hey, you just put up a job application for a program director. Where's that money coming from? And I said, last year we paid it out of rec revolving. This year we're planning on paying out of rec revolving. And last year you all said, you know, hey, if you go over, we'll cover you because we're not trying to compensate by pulling off. And he said, that's not the agreement this year. We're not agreeing to cover if you go over. We're saying if you're posting, you gotta cover it.
Oh.
So that was news this
That's
week.
new, yeah.
Okay.
Because he said that was last year's, I think, you know, trying to tighten budgets and they're trying to leave less kind of
Okay.
vague money, is what it sounds like.
So then we should leverage Dennis to get part of your pay coming out of the town budget. Because Dennis is a huge component of that. Joe, I'm not gonna say Joe wasn't, but Joe, I think, was hamstrung to a point where I think Dennis would help force that through a little bit better than Joe might have.
Maybe.
I'm just,
Maybe I also think from the understanding is that I think Dennis is trying to not make any major changes, knowing, this is just my impression, knowing that he's in
he's in
charge,
charge.
right? And so rather than making any big things, saying, you know, I'm trying to keep everything afloat, the next town manager gets to make these decisions, not me. That, I might be wrong,
No.
but I think that's my impression based on him saying, you know, hey, these upgrades
Yeah.
are being paused, these budget lines, these, you know, we're kind of pausing everything, so the next person really takes control.
Yeah.
But couple things to look at. So like payroll, you know, mine went up.
Yep.
We knew it was going up. We didn't expect it to go up. I actually thought this was gonna be worse, in terms of how off we were. And, staff benefits, you know, we overshot a little bit, not crazy.
So can I ask you a quick question on your payroll piece,
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
So that's because even when you were out, you still had all that other time accrued that you used and got paid at regular rate.
Yeah.
Yes. It
All
wasn't-
of the time I was out was just vacation and sick days. None of it was any other type of leave.
Sure.
So I got paid out, right? And this
Yep.
also is higher because of the class and comp increase.
Understood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, I keep these real low. They're buffer and I kind of like to look at the end of the year and say, dude, any chance we have any extra money? Maybe I'll start spending in this area a little bit more, but
So
don't.
why was company budget at $4,000 and we only spent like
That's
600?
down. Previous years, it was even higher. We've been lowering it.
Well, so because before we were doing newsletters and sending them out through the mail, and when you put a newsletter through the mail, that's probably 1,600, right?
Right.
We were talking about doing, like 3 of those a year.
Yeah, they used to do them.
So this
Quarterly
is
year.
just them ending up in town crier.
That's it. Yeah, because everything else is social
Pretty fresh.
media,
No, we used to-
website, emails.
So we actually had like a nice, like 4-page glossy thing that got done many moons ago, which I think that's,
For the
in my
town.
mind, that's what that's
Correct.
kind of what it all always come back.
Yeah, it was like a 2-pager, double-sided, so it, and it was sent out in the old paper. And it was
Right.
like 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
Right, this,
Got it.
the
Okay.
580 is now just the,
The Mendon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so,
So, yeah.
keeping these low because, again, way over. Credit card fees, we're over, I think we've been over the last few years.
Well, but we're doing more with credit, right? I mean, a lot of that, some of that's beach and a lot of that is volleyball.
Yep, volleyball and yoga. And the thing we have to remember is we haven't come up with a good system yet to separate the credit card fees for beach from the credit card fees
Yep.
for everything else.
Understood.
We just
It's
put it
one,
under.
it's one
rec.
big. thing.
So even though that should be over on Park Citizen.
Yep.
And then software, close, we overshot. I did actually, just to put it on our brains probably for next meeting, but I did actually have a meeting with Civic Plus, which is the website provider for the town. They do have a recreation wing, and they did the whole. It's cheaper and has more functionality.
Yeah.
It's a lot less pretty.
Yeah.
Really, really rudimentary in look, but can do so much more. So it's something to consider. And then it would also sync up with the town. They said they might be able to waive certain fees because we're already a user in town. So it also, they have like credit card readers that yes, you purchase, but you purchase once and then you're kind of in there with them. So it's something to think about, and it would cut down on this budget line a bit.
Yeah.
Why is, so the 95 versus the 125, that doesn't seem to have the columns above. I
Well-
mean, the difference, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're not so far off between budget.
This
and-
Well,
one's
that's
30,
that's your 30 grand.
right?
Oh,
Because it should be a positive 15,
Yeah.
but because we got hit with this 22, it's actually. a
Oh,
negative
okay, I
15.
got it. Okay,
And,
gotcha.
and based on your note that, you know, because I
Yeah.
started going in and I'm like, what the? And then all of a sudden I wanted to go back and read the note.
Yeah.
Oh, fine, I don't need to send that.
Hold on, I know. Well, when I first did it, I didn't catch it either, and I go, man, we were right on.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I saw it as a negative. And I'm like, no.
You had
We
that
absolutely-
mental.
We absolutely took money on that. But yeah, and that's, you know,
And I didn't know, I mean, this isn't really fair because this also does, and I have the note here,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
does impact, this number isn't true. This number is actually much closer to 250 because we have an expense listed under the income column because it's listed under the fields.
yeah.
So, like, if we move this expense, I don't know, down to marketing or operational supplies or something just to get it off that line, income would show more accurately as 250.
Yes, of course.
I just didn't know where.
Yeah,
it was
no,
at,
I get it.
basically.
I get it.
So should this, I mean, I noticed in the budget that site improvement was way underspent. And why isn't the sports tech thing under site improvement?
So the issue we ran into last year was we were supposed to put the sports tech stuff on last year's site improvement and last year's parks.
No, so part of it, I think part of it, there was two different invoices. Through. Well, so let me even go back a little bit. Part of it, we were expecting to get covered under an old CPA
Oh, yeah, and the CPA.
budget item. Of which we were then told, no, you know, even though there was money still on the open CPA approved funding piece, which talked about site improvements and other things that were going on.
Yeah.
We couldn't use that account because it had long since expired.
Yeah.
Right.
It was still like sitting on the books.
So from a journal entry standpoint, through the CPC meetings, there was that one and like, you know, a dozen other ones that we cleaned, right? So basically, we had two invoices to come, one for each. You know, one for the basketball court, which was like a 15.5 or something like that. So it was done that way on purpose, so we could put that on like a site improvement fee. And then the balance was the 22 number, of which we knew that was gonna end up, you know, unfortunately hitting a rec revolving, right?
And I think when we asked, I think you're right, I think when we asked if the other one could go on site improvement, didn't they say we couldn't for some reason? Because it was the previous year, the work was done in the previous year, so we couldn't hit site improvement this year. Joe explained it, but basically just said, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have run into this the last few years where our site improvement is not being used.
Right.
Truly utilized,
Yeah, last year we used it because, you know, we did end up putting part of that tennis court on it, which was the plan, but like this year we haven't used it.
So.
And
we have-
2 years ago, we hadn't used it.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to have more focus on and put more, you know, I put Sunset Sound on it for this year, and I think that's about the only thing that's been in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so, you know, we
Yeah.
have some problems. I say this every time, but I think if we're gonna prepare to again ask FinCom to take some of my pay off, I think the move is we need to call around to all of the towns that are on that class and comp plan. So outside third party organization has said, these are related towns, right? These are your similar towns. And in my conversation with Grafton, picking their brain, they named, I believe, at least a few of the towns that were on that list, including themselves as, oh yeah, our professionals' budgets are out of the town, they're not in our rec revolving. So I think coming armed with,
Mhm.
you're saying these are our towns, but we're not acting anywhere similarly to them. And we're not even asking for 70 grand to be taken off, we're asking for 15 grand or whatever, you know, the ask is. I think we need that if we're gonna actually get this year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't expect them to say yes.
Yeah. And we should, and as we get down to the finite pieces of this, we go in assuming not. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Here, we're, you know, now we get to some of the more positive stuff. So program revenue, our programs have been doing awesome. We kind of knew that they were trending up. Again, this was a big reason that Christina was asking, you know, this was even before some of her big spike in attendance, because now we're talking about last June, this past June. So she's been getting only more and more attendance since
Yeah, okay.
the numbers they sent out. Volleyball's also always a winner, and theater always a winner. I do believe this year or next year, Jen and they're moving.
Costa Rica.
Is it before this summer or after the summer?
It sounds like it could be sooner rather than later.
I think they pinged me that it's possible. So I have been reaching out to some of the Hopkinton Center for the Arts people, art theater.
The thing-
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and they let me know last year, they didn't know if it was gonna be one more summer or we're already done.
Right.
But, there's a local like theater
Yeah.
class person, that I'm trying to do a program with right now, actually. Who I may be able to ping and say, hey, we have a
Yeah.
hole
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
But also this Hopkinton Center for the Arts, if they wanna try to fill that hole.
So, okay.
Still at our location,
So,
which.
so we're not sure whether or not this runs, so this is, so we've already got this budgeted in our 2026 plan.
Yeah.
So the question now becomes is do we, I mean, now granted, it's rolled up, you know, we kind of roll it up. I know you've got it broken down by the three categories.
Yeah.
right? But for the most part, this is a, you know, this is a contracted programs piece
Right.
of which, you know, we see as just a general moneymaker here, so. okay.
Right, I mean, I would feel better if theater was zeroed out, where we just said, cool, it's kind of like swim lessons, where we can just say it's
It's a,
in
we
and
can-
out and whatever,
we-
but it was a moneymaker.
yeah,
so.
we could make it a, yeah.
Yeah. So I am already looking to get that filled by someone. The negative of that is Jen and Bob quite cheap for something like this because they loved it and they loved it and all that. So getting it at 36 or something like that
Did
seems unlikely.
that, but that 36, that was the cost to run.
Yeah.
The 585, was that out of the 1,000 that we gave them from equipment? I mean, I know it's categorized as equipment, but was that spend budget for material?
Yes, but remember, it's kind of split because they're in that they order some stuff ahead of time.
I
and
get
so this is sort of half of their.
Yeah.
Right, and then they would do the other half of the next year and all that.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah. So, yeah, they always kept within their 1,000, but this is that portion.
okay,
So anyway, this number may be higher, even though we budgeted for similar, and we've already blown this out, from what we budgeted, but obviously, since this one's so high, we were
Yeah.
still okay.
Yeah.
But we just should maybe talk about getting those to be more realistic.
no, but, but to your, point. right?
Yeah.
So we got yoga coming back saying, hey, this is the normal cost for the class and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And if we do that, I would definitely say that we do the same thing on volleyball.
Yeah.
That's the number.
Yep.
Well, I mean, kind of no offense, but volleyball's been a sellout for years upon years.
Yep,
Right.
and we already got approved for the second day when the
Yeah,
baseball nets go up, so now with this much notice, we might sell out a second day a week
yeah,
for,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and-
2 months or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think if we do that, we do that with that. You know,
I agree.
You know, in my mind, you know, yeah, does it make sense? Sure, right?
Yeah.
Could it get, you know, should it be one, you know, like maybe one more year where we're like, you know, we bump it up? What, so it was, we're paying her 65 and the normal's like 80?
I think
What
we're
was
still
it?
paying her 60. We bumped Jerica up to 65 last year when we went up to $8.
Yeah.
We kept Yoga at 7, and I think we kept Christina at 60. And Christina's asking for 70 or 75, I think 75. Which is her normal, and she said that even during our initial interview. She said,
No.
I'll go cheap because this is local, but like, I'll be looking to go
Yeah.
up to my normal rate. And she does a fantastic job of finding subs, so I would also say it's really the yoga instructor pay, not Christina's pay. It's whoever, because if she, you know, if her daughter has a whatever, she always finds her own sub
Yeah.
and cancels like once a year.
Yeah, no,
Like she,
No, I'm with you.
so I would like it to make it,
Yeah.
you know, Christina's, people come for her. I think she deserves 75, but I don't think other people should bump down to 60 when they're subbing.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, because people are still going and attending the class,
Right.
so.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, in the grand scheme of it, you know, based on numbers and with the numbers and stuff going up, you know, I think, you know, probably going to that level, I know that that means that the expense line goes up
Yeah.
and flattens things out a little bit, but
But
that's,
again, I would say in the months that we're looking at, this is still pre some
No,
of
no,
the bigger bumps. So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
we're looking at
yeah.
a better revenue look for
It's-
FY 26.
Well, but I still, yeah, sure, but I still think that, you know, while that'll, you know, that ends up being pretty much a zero sum game on the yoga side and, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we'll still probably make that up, you know, the yoga will, I mean, the volleyball will still be a difference, and even though that's something that, you know, would bump, you know, feasibly, we could bump again. Now, I know Jerica really hasn't asked for it
Ever.
either, so,
Ever. She
you know,
never asks.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, feasibly, we could say yes to yoga and just kind of go, you know,
Yeah.
we could let it ride for another year only because our expenses are still high.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, right. I agree. I think I feel best about bringing them up together, especially if it's gonna make the classes both pay.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking about someone who
Yeah.
brings in over 10,000 and is
Yeah,
it.
well, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
but there's twice as many people that could probably be attending the volleyball stuff at the same time too. right? So,
Well, yoga has the great room, so actually could be attending. Or,
yeah, the Jerica has at least 2 courts, if not sometimes 3 courts going, right? And if you've got,
but I guess I'm
if you've
saying,
got 6 aside,
if
you know.
Jerica has 3 courts, but 12 people were showing up, it's not that she could have 30, but she's getting 12.
Yeah.
Jerica's getting 30.
yeah,
Christina's doing a
Yeah.
wonderful job
Yeah,
in
but
yoga
really-
class.
Yeah.
Right, yoga classes aren't usually 50 people, but I'm saying, could
Yeah.
they be bigger? Yes.
yeah. I mean-
But that's not a knock on her, it's just saying,
Yeah, no,
she's not limited
I'm with you. I mean,
and
so
doesn't have the opportunity to.
just, you know, I'm just
Anyway.
thinking.
We can circle back, but I
75,
want
yeah.
to, but again, you know, just like everything, our budget and our actuals really don't match. Luckily, it's both on revenue and expenses, kind of across the board.
Yeah.
You know, our revenue really isn't tracking on our revenue plan, our expenses really aren't tracking on our expense plan. Not crazy off though.
Sure, but not crazy off, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then this one, we've just done a great job of keeping it low. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't even know if we need this much next year, but again, just with the new person with theater,
Sure.
we keep it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've, you know, volleyball's told us we need some tape and a couple balls every year. Yoga doesn't need anything. And really, it's just theater.
Yep.
Kids at play, same thing, you know, our revenue is low. Every year it's lower than we project, but our expenses are projected.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we've always done it.
So maybe we end up right sizing that one a little bit more because your operation, the operations piece goes up a little bit from the cost side.
Yeah.
Right, basically to cover, your payroll and benefit lines.
Right, correct, yep. This one I wanted to point out because historically, I have been very tight, purse strings on equipment for kids that play, because that's one where we can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go all out. We've never come anywhere close to the 8,000. This year, well, I should say, until I think 3
Yeah.
years ago, last time we did the t-shirt order. So this one is,
Yep.
again, it comes in. The part I may look at is I may just say, sure, it'll be more expensive, but maybe I do it every 2 years and it does actually keep it in the budget line versus it's cheaper and we only have to do it every 3 years, but it blows the budget line.
Yeah.
I don't know which is better.
Yeah.
And I have to make the decision. I mean, I guess I make the decision usually mid-spring.
Yeah.
So we have a good amount of information for the year, so maybe it's a conversation of which one are we doing this time. But anyway, we're good for the next few years now. This one I wanted to point out because we look at this every year and we, line up the numbers and honestly, I don't know what happened here. But that's unfortunate.
Well, but, we added a second bus to some things.
Just to one.
This would have been last summer though, right?
Mhm.
Like 2 summers ago. I think we added a second bus to 2. And
Yeah.
we filled out those buses though.
Understood.
Oh, but you're saying the expense.
Understood,
Yeah.
but from an expense standpoint,
You're right,
right, it's,
you're right. That would be a couple thousand max though. It's still not, it's not showing this. So it's telling me that something in my math when I'm projecting, I need to go look at this deeper when I'm making decisions this year, but I don't,
But I also think what it was is that we were kind of getting back into rebuilding this, because we hadn't had field trips in
Yeah.
years. We reintroduced it on a partial level,
the year before,
getting it started off, then we went full.
right?
And
This was
then
the
we
first
went
year going
full
full.
with an extra bus or two with certain
Yeah.
ones that were in demand,
Okay,
right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I hear you. I mean, I appreciate the break. I looked at it and went,
That's-
what?
so, so honestly, that's what crossed my mind looking at the screen captures. 'Cause I didn't get a chance, I think
Right,
you
so
had sent
to
something
click
else
in,
through to
yeah.
kind of go in and under the covers and look at numbers. I didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But, I did have a plan, or at least an idea of what
Yeah,
that
of
one
what happened, yeah. And
And
it's,
Chris was going, huh?
right, well,
It
right.
doesn't work in my science.
You had started at this point, so right, it's hard to remember 2 years ago, all the stuff that we're talking about,
Right,
but,
right.
I
And I wasn't here.
Right, I don't think you had started yet.
No.
So anyway,
I thought you had. Not in the summer?
2 summers ago.
I don't-
You started in the fall.
I thought you had started in the spring.
I end 2027.
Huh?
I think I end 2027 this term.
And it's a 3-year term?
Yeah.
So you would have started somewhere in 2024, but do you remember what season? Like
Well, you
fall?
would have gotten voted in May.
May.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you were brand new, you didn't know any of
You-
this.
Yeah, new for part.
Anyway, I'm just saying it's, the point I was making is it's hard to remember far, because this feels like 2 years ago, basically. We're talking about 2 summers ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's concerning and it's something that for these, this year, again, this year meaning this upcoming
Yeah.
summer
Okay,
is going to be the budget we're talking about pretty much
yeah,
tonight. So I just need to make sure that we don't go there.
all right. So I'm with you, and I think, I know where we're going with the other program.
But yeah,
So
and then
let's-
you get it, it's,
So-
mostly pickleball.
It's all pickleball.
Yeah, 12,000 of it was pickleball.
Is the pickleball expense in there too? Where's the pickleball expense? Because we definitely spent money on second.
Yeah, it's marked in the notes. It's marked in the notes, but what I realized is, where is pickleball? Because, in our tracking, we have it named pickleball club, but it should be under other programs.
Yeah, I get you.
So let me do pickleball club. And then all of this should be switched to other programs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Drag it down.
Control C.
Can I drag it down?
Yep.
Okay,
All right, you wanna know the other way to do that?
Control C and then,
No, right, if you had, like, hit Control C real quick.
We'll see.
Yeah, so then just put it backwards.
right,
All right, so, double click in the corner. But just. So if you double click right here,
yeah. Oh, double click instead of drag?
it should. Because it's sorted. No, you probably can't do that.
Got it. Well, the click and drag seemed to work.
But, yeah, you should be able to. Yeah, if you had Control C then,
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
you can Control C and then Control V,
Yep,
and then it'll take it.
got it. I think this works.
That,
There we go.
yeah,
Okay, but good catch, because we just don't have that category listed, so there it is. Huh,
okay, so that took it out of somewhere else.
well,
Because it-
actually, no, that was in no man's land, because pickleball, it was listed under pickleball club, which isn't actually a budget line. It's something that Andrew had as a primary category, but it's not actually one of our budgeted, like, through Kenny budget
Oh,
lines. So it was
okay.
nowhere. What's in this? Pickleball net shouldn't be under theirs. That's what it is. And this one. So that's almost 700. That shouldn't be theirs.
Pickleball. It says pickleball net though.
Yeah, but that's,
Slide.
but I think that's so at one point, we tried to set up a rotation where we did one net a year,
Yeah,
right, to rotate for the portables.
Yeah.
Right, so therefore, it wasn't, we bought 5 new ones this year, and, 4 years from now, we have to buy 5 more,
Right.
right? It's just saying,
so
if
we're doing,
we do one as a rotation and started going, then it keeps it consistent from a budget standpoint.
this is another, and we'll have to, I wonder if we should propose another budget line to be able to separate this, because there's really nowhere to capture. If something is for pickleball, but we're not putting it under their 1,000, where do we capture it? Because for imprint is their bag tags. And there was some taxes that they had to put on it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
though we had agreed with them, the bag tags were part of kind of just overseeing a department, not a pickleball expense, right? Because it's sort of in place of a person
so, I-
running that.
yeah, but so I'm with you.
Yeah.
And could there be a quote unquote, an other program equipment fee that I realize it's showing under other programs and just general equipment, so therefore it's there.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that all of those are associated with pickleball. But it is but we are now capturing the fact that there was equipment purchases made that comes out of our revolving budget line.
Right.
So the only, so where am I going with that? So if you jump back to the budget tracking piece, right? And you look at the 1.9 and you go, whoa, wait a minute, what's the 1.9? Well, some of it was, you know, or maybe some of the secondary equipment.
Yeah.
Piece for the two that we're taking on.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the other cost line versus the equipment line. So or we put theirs in the other cost and ours in the equipment or vice versa. So
Right.
that way we have a little bit of an inkling of saying, oh, okay, I get it, we're doing this, but at the same
Well,
time.
my only pushback on that is, so this year I'm trying to add fast athletics, a magic
Yeah.
class, a
Yeah.
STEM class, whatever. And we had talked to like that art teacher.
Yep.
I always pictured any equipment, which actually all the ones I just named, they bring their own. But if we had done the art teacher,
Yeah.
she would say, you know, you all
We
provide them.
need,
I always thought we would capture those types of programs under other costs, which is why I'm feeling like we should go to Kenny and say, we would like to add a budget line under these other programs that says pickleball equipment versus just equipment. Because pickleball equipment, we want to give a budget cap to 1,000, but bag tags and maybe signage and things like that that are for pickleball shouldn't be captured under their 1,000, but also aren't really other costs, because other costs are primarily for other programs. So we can say STEM brought in this, but cost this.
yeah, sure.
But pickleball cost this, but the equipment was here, but you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Why do you think we have to ask any person to do that?
Because we have to get permission if we want to add a different budget line. Versus just, we internally could change how we use
Yeah,
other
we-
costs,
So
but if we want to do an additional.
so yeah, okay,
Mhm.
no, I get it, but we could call it something else and track it individually in terms of a tracking piece, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we need a new line item for it.
So
So
in
because
turn,
the rec revolving as a whole, he doesn't break the rec revolving down into,
he doesn't, but we do have it all listed
I
through Vadar.
get it, I, well,
And
and I'm.
right now, this is a 1-to-1 from what Vadar says. Nothing else is different.
Okay,
So I'm not saying no, I'm just saying right now,
yeah.
you know,
no,
when we say, hey, we're making decisions to propose our budget, this is identical to what we're looking at on this page. And this is what we're gonna submit to FinCom, which is gonna look at Vadar, like everything meshes.
Yeah.
So my preference would be to keep everything meshing.
Yeah. So I don't disagree. I guess I was just thinking that there'd be a way for us to be able to say, okay, we know, you know, at the end of the day, we're gonna roll it up in a certain way here. However, it's gonna be, you know, at the end of the day, it may show up in this other weird scenario.
Yep. Yep.
You know, unless we put you know, so we've got other programs and then we've got equipment as a secondary line. Not that I'm saying this, but you could then go, well, you could put a third split line underneath equipment that says, hey, here's your pickleball one versus,
So you know. how much it
Versus-
is. Yeah,
versus fast versus art versus,
well, and I guess you're right, because it's actually what I'm doing here. This isn't captured on Vadar.
I get it.
So you're right, I could do it that way. Okay, I'm fine with that. I was gonna say, the other thing is we could finally give a bonus swim lesson and just make this pickleball. If we wanted. And just say, hey, change this title. Otherwise, we're.
Is swim lessons actually gonna become a reality at
Well,
some point? Like an aspect?
Yeah.
So, and as much as I don't disagree with your statement, I still think that that's a perception piece that I go, you know, I'd still like to post, I'd still like to search and see whether or not that's something that we can offer and have budget line items against.
And ready for
Because
it.
it only does our town better, right? If we can offer swim lessons and then have a little less worry about the kids swimming in our pond.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
no, I'm cool with that. Ready if we find someone.
Yes,
Situation, yeah.
right? And I get it. And I get FinCom can come back and go, oh, what's the swim lesson line? Hey, we're reserving the fact that there's some revenue and expense, we made that a zero sum game. Should we ever be able to really, have someone that actually responds to a posting that says, we would like to do this?
Right, and I guess, a zeroed out revenue and
Yeah.
expense on a revolving fund, they're not gonna push back. on
They're
it.
not, they're gonna go, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, sure. It's just some extra typing maybe somewhere,
Yeah.
that's about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, well, so anyway, so that's,
Okay.
once again, though, are we, if we're here, I'm not that stressed. And I just would like to make things a little bit more realistic, although then we have the conversation every year where we say, do we try to be more realistic or do we keep that 270, it used to be 260 line?
Yeah.
Or, just to not reduce it, kind of knowing that as long as we stay close, this is really more of a 250 and this is more of a 250, that's fine.
Yeah.
But these numbers, this one's a little bit more accurate because it does, not include
It truly,
the sports tag,
yeah,
but this one,
That
like you
one-
said,
but
maybe
that one-
journal entries.
but that one does have, that is the journal entries and sports tech.
Right.
Part of it, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna do a drastic change to a 293. I think that there was some other one-time things that hit. I also think because of the 2-week shutdown and when it happened, I don't think we're going to use all the dollars that is gonna be required in fiscal year 26 on the beach program line item. It'll be close.
It's not much. We were decently into the summer, so most season passes had already been sold. And kids at mine didn't have that many cancellations.
No, but we closed the beach, so the miscellaneous.
The staff, yeah.
For the lifeguard.
Yeah.
One that we went over
Okay.
with and had to subsidize $8,500 from,
Got it, okay.
isn't gonna happen this year.
I get what you're saying. Okay, I'm cool with
That
that.
part's fair.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
yeah. I know, I don't say it's all of them. I think it's so much money to losing as you think it is, maybe early in the season, but.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so, all right, so let's go to, so high level, I get it. So
Yeah.
let's now roll over to,
Well, I didn't actually, so to be super honest, I didn't actually plug because these are identical. I didn't plug these in.
well, but those aren't real yet. We're still in 26,
Sorry,
right? It would be one to the
I
left.
didn't plug
Oh.
these in. But
Yeah.
just because I had them all plugged on the other one, so.
Correct, and we wanted to
Same
have the
thing.
conversation and all that. So I-
Exactly.
So I get it.
So
Yeah.
mostly I'm just saying, usually we look here and then we plug here. Can we just do that on this page? Can we look here and plug here?
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest, right? I mean, the first thing that's gonna jump off the page to me is, your payroll and
Yeah.
staff benefit numbers have to go up. They have to be, I would say that that's a 74 number.
I'm technically quoted at 76 right now.
Okay,
And again, I will be very clear. I pushed against that because I was like, we can't afford it. I don't make enough to afford it. Don't make me make 4-9 programs to pay myself. But
Right,
right
so
now,
that's,
my pay is literally 76.
okay, and we're, okay. 1, 2, so that needs to then become like a 78 number,
I think so.
or 78 and a half or something. I
And,
get it.
and well, no, and I'll tell you right now too, staff benefits, Sandy's been pinging us saying health insurance is going up like
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
But it-
15%,
It
20%.
it absolutely is.
So that number is
Way
gonna
low-
have a massive
way low
jump.
as well,
Yeah.
so I would think that this ends up being a 78.5 or a 79 number,
70, this one?
yeah,
Yeah.
78.500.
Sure.
Something.
And I
in there.
can look up what it's supposed to be, but
Yeah, no, but,
Because on the class and comp, we should be able to say, boom, this is it. I don't remember what the next jump after 76 is.
yeah, but I
But
mean,
you just
yeah,
move up
sure,
one box.
sure.
But I can pull that actually, well, you do your brain math, I'll pull that.
See how she teases me, Chris?
Am I wrong?
Yeah, because then, because so that 76.4, that's the copied number from fiscal year 26. So we did bump it a hair, but probably not enough. That probably goes to the 28-ish number.
Yeah, maybe time.
It could be higher than.
I think health insurance is going up, what was it, 15-20%, like crazy.
Easily.
But is that, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, is that all on you, or is that all on?
It's so far, that's all coming out of us. But these are the things, again, I think we come armed to the finance committee and say, we just were looking at 69 and now we've jumped 10 grand. Cool, thanks, but also you're making me make this back and we're already struggling.
Yeah,
And same thing with staff benefits, like it's nothing we can do. We can't do anything about these costs. We can't cut these costs, right? There's no way.
no,
So
yeah.
what do you want us to do?
Well, yeah, and the only thing that, the unfortunate part is, okay, some of the fees for yoga is, that's gonna go up the extra buck too, okay, fine. I don't think we need to, as much as I like to harass the pickleball folks, I don't necessarily think we need to change that fee structure.
Nope.
So the only other way that happens is the kids at play piece takes it. Right? I mean, look, there's a little bit from field trip stuff, but it isn't really even gonna be field trip stuff. It's gonna be straight up. Cost of attending camp.
And I think again, I think we say that to them because we're saying, 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, you all went from high to low in terms of the cost of the, because you were losing attendance, right? And sure, you can make costs higher, but if less people come, your math doesn't work.
It still doesn't work.
It's different. It doesn't help you. You don't have a guaranteed population that you can just keep tapping.
Right.
And I fear we're getting to that turning point again.
Yeah.
And we can't keep tapping that same spot because sure, we had good numbers this year. Who knows what's gonna happen next year?
Right. Right.
I think we say that to them. And I think again, we say, this reality is pushing us to tap that number to a place where we're making summer program or in-town summer program not an option, or people are choosing to go out of town. Like,
Because
that's our only option.
there's less expensive options.
Right, and it's
out there.
cheaper than us, and they have included field trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. So, okay.
But anyway, so, in looking here, we can. I think you said 28, we could put that in for now.
Well, but I mean, yeah. Change the 78 to a negative. I thank you very much for paying us that much for
Yeah.
doing that work.
And if a couple extra dollars sitting around, I thought I'd pay you to work this year.
Who needs an extra bedroom for another child?
Yeah, we're good with one. All of our income will now go to you.
Grace's dad retired. We've got it all. Dun. Yeah, okay. What's the Professional development, yeah, I know we took that down. I know that's kind of been just bouncing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing this year I'm looking to put on that would be maybe those classes we talked about.
Yeah.
And then this 35, I think it's like a CPR class or choke saver, it's one of
Yeah,
those, you know, that we just do every few years to get certifications up.
But please, use those dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's, the last few years, it's been nice when I've been quite under, but I hear ya.
And, but as a mentor for you as a person
Yeah.
in your personal growth, I want you to use those dollars.
Yeah.
Fair enough,
Got it?
fair enough, fair enough, I appreciate that,
Okay.
yeah.
Right? Don't ever.
And if it's on finance, we want me to use these dollars. Yeah.
Did I just yell out loud? Yes? I don't know if I did or not.
Yeah.
All right. Especially if it's in government math.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Kenny. Yeah. We can probably turn that off now. Right?
I think this meeting is technically hybrid. I think like,
I understand, but no.
I believe this all gets posted on YouTube now.
So,
Yeah.
all right, so.
Marketing, I mean, are we gonna spend that much? Really? What is the
We've popped
kind of?
down. Yeah, because right now, I mean, the newsletter is digital. I just email it out to everyone on our website.
Right,
Post it on the website and then you do some social media posts, all that's free.
Yeah,
Last year, I do think you did it, I think it moved the needle with the one mailing you did.
yeah,
So maybe we do one a year instead of these before, where this number came from.
which one?
so we drop it down to
Didn't you
two?
send one out through the newspaper, local newspaper?
Can you get them into nothing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that used to be 4 times a year,
okay,
that mailing.
but that was only like $400 or $500, $400 or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah, so,
think the old one used to be
yeah, it was, it was more expensive.
the new newspaper.
Cause this was just an ad.
Yeah,
Oh, you just did the ad,
It
so
was
it
just
used
an
to be an insert
Insert.
into the old newspaper, so you, like physical,
Right.
you open your newspaper and you're holding.
Cause they had those for the men and
yeah, it's one of those,
Yeah.
one of those, yeah,
You can do that.
4 times a year.
And it goes to everybody.
You can, but that again.
right, but it's cost,
quite-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So why don't you drop that down by another 1,000?
I never, I mean. I don't
Yeah, sure.
Anything here,
Credit card fees are gonna have to go up.
Yep.
Right, and I hate to say it, but that should be like an 8 number.
Yeah. this one, so the timeline, if we did make the switch, it would be, their current pricing, it would be about 1,000 less a year. But realistically, we wouldn't launch with them until January or December 2026, January 2027. Because it really takes a full year, plus obviously
Yeah.
right now I have everything built for
Yep.
this upcoming. So if we were gonna do that, that would be in this budget.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's too early to say.
I think that number goes to 7. And the reality is that, yeah, it's probably, we're a little over this year. We know that will go up by 3 to 5% again.
Yep.
And then it'll go up by 3 or 5% yet again,
Yep.
right? So,
Yeah.
that's kind of where, how that happens.
I mean, again, personally, cool, thanks everyone, but this is killing me.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay. So contracted programs, we're saying 18. That's still, yeah, so revenue is up. So we actually think that contracted program number should be 20. If we go up $1 in yoga, right? Well, so I guess then the question is, what do we want to do about the theater? Because the theater goes away, and that's where that piece is. That
I-
could have a huge impact.
I know this is kind of gambling, but I think that I can find someone for theater.
But at that same $8,000 range.
Well, that, I mean, do you think people are paying the current price because it's Jen and Bob? If it's not that they're paying because of Jen and Bob, then we would just offer the same program at the same price with a different person leading it. So the expense might change, but the revenue should stay the same.
Okay,
If we think people are doing it because it's Jen and Bob, then maybe we lower the price a little bit because we have an unknown as the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
leader.
okay, so let's assume that that still comes through, so that program revenue, if we add up a little bit here, a little bit there. That's probably gonna come to a 23.5 number. A couple of years from now.
Yeah.
Right, that's the whole hard part of kind of going, okay.
Right.
yeah,
What's gonna happen?
It's not, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not current cycle, it's the next future cycle. Expense is already at the 10. If we up those prices, that expense is probably going to 13.5 or 14.
You think it's that high?
If we do both,
If we do both, and like I said, the theater person, I don't know if I can get theater at 36, because Jen and Bob are so cheap.
Right.
So, yeah, okay.
right, and then is equipment still at 1,000? You know, I think looks like we budgeted, what did we budget? So if you, on the right-hand one, what did we do, the one?
Down to 1,000. Yeah, but we give theater 1,000 technically.
Right.
Um,
Which is, I think part of why the 1,500 actually made sense to me.
right. But realistically, unless we're talking about other programs in this contracted, volleyball's not asking for more. Yoga's not asking for anything. So, maybe it's more of a 1,200.
I have 5,
Great.
1,200 sold. Wow. How did we get there in the 05 number and 07 number are pretty darn close?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Right, because so my sneaking suspicion is we're not gonna be at a 270 number. And this one's gonna end up being like a 280 number. And that's okay, because we go in saying, we've got a zero-sum game to get us to a 280 number. Unfortunately, right, a lot of it's on your head.
Yeah.
You know it.
I know it.
Because we can now, right, so if we go to Kids at Play, we can now start to right-size the Kids at Play value in terms of payroll, equipment, field trips, and that type of stuff. Let's do the expense pieces first.
Here we go. By the way, I just finally found the thing from Sandy, which should show what my actual pay bump. Just so we can look at real numbers. Oh, we're there. So I'm currently at, let's see, I think I'm an 8. I'm currently at the 76, because I'm a
Yeah.
8, step 2. So the next one should be,
78.
77, 78. We were right on. Sounds nice. I wish it wasn't as stressful. No one might pay to be stressful. It's supposed to be the benefit of all this. Okay, sorry. So back to Kids at Play.
Yeah, so if you, scroll back down on this one now, right, because I want to look at the actuals of the Kids at Play. So we were at 108. All right, in the one on the right, let's scroll back to the left a little bit, right? I just want to take a
What did
look.
we,
I want to take a look at the past couple.
what we actually did?
So 130 was our estimate. So the year before, our actual spend was 101.
Yeah.
And we budgeted 140. Well, what was it the year before that? 110. Interesting. And we're at 108 now.
I think we've been zoning in, doing a better job of cutting the correct ratio of staff based on actual
Numbers, yeah,
numbers for that day.
Yeah.
I think these were the,
yeah, no,
yeah, these were the,
I'm with you.
I believe Joey and Patrick years where they didn't want to cut their friends, so everybody got to stay on work that day. They were wonderful, just too kind.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think we've got,
no,
which is,
okay,
shows why higher rates can come in at lower.
well, but still, last year's was still at 108. No, let's say 109,
Yeah,
right? There's probably a little bit of a bump in that if we change things around a little bit. And does that 108 number, that includes the director?
Yep.
Okay,
and we had internally said 15. I think when I ran the numbers, it came in closer to 10.
understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for our like mental.
Because there was some other
adding-
times, some sickness and some other things.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing the note, or the detailed breakdown on that.
And it was actually, you know what it was, is I thought there was gonna need to be more prep, so I had planned like a week's worth of prep, meaning 40 hours.
Yeah.
And it just was
Yeah,
way
no,
more than we
but-
needed. The other thing is, my belief for moving forward this summer and future is we either do one program director, one assistant program director, or we go back to 2 program directors, meaning 2 of the college age people, but I don't think we need 3. So this 10,
Right.
oh wait, no, this 108 is still when we had 2.
The 108 on the left is,
So this doesn't capture, right, aren't we a summer back? This only
yeah.
captures
Oh, yeah,
the first week
that's
of
right.
Drew.
That's right. That only captures the first week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're absolutely.
So this next one, let's add 10 grand to that. But what I'm saying is moving forward, I don't think we need those 3. I think we need 2. It'll either
Yeah,
be
no,
one
with
with the
you.
higher, with the lower, or 2 with the lower.
So, yeah, so I think that's part of how we were getting to, maybe that was part of getting to the 130, but we were already, I think we were already budgeting up into that realm anyway.
Yeah, we actually been dropping it, but we still haven't gotten anywhere close. This year, after
This year.
26, we might get close.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just, because I'm thinking even if, even, let's say it was a one, let's just call it a flat 108 number.
Yep.
You add the 15 on top of that, right, then that gets you to at least a 123. So maybe that's a 125 number. So maybe we do drop that down a little bit to like a 125.
So equipment, again, this was the big order.
Yeah,
But not looking to do that this year. So again, this is 2 summers ago. So last summer, this past summer would have been year 1, this would be year 2. So next summer would be when we're looking to do that t-shirt order again.
yeah.
And
Okay.
maybe sometimes we can even stretch
So
it
it
more.
won't be in this one, that'll have the 5.
Correct.
But that should still probably be about a 6 number, right?
I think let me look back. I don't think we get anywhere close. So here we were at 3. Here we were at 7, but this was an order. 4, 4.
Okay,
I think we're fine at 5.
okay.
If it's not
All
a
right.
t-shirt year,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, yeah, but now with the field trips. And sorry, that has to go up.
Yep.
To like 14.
okay, yeah,
I,
yeah. Because this is going up.
the cost of places is only going up.
Yeah.
And as well, bus rates are gonna end up going up.
Yeah, yep.
Right.
We went with the affordable one. I mean, I know that wasn't this year. This year, I think we did more the other one, or we found the bus company we currently use, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, So let's leave swim lesson as is. Again, I realize we didn't touch the revenue side of Kids at Play yet.
Yeah,
But
we'll,
we'll circle back
yeah,
around to that.
we're already, we're already in, so
Yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah, so, okay, so those are those, program revenue there. Also, this is interesting, so 9.5.
Cause this
Yeah,
was all just copied over from 2026. I just made up. just-
Yeah. No, I know, but even with that, right,
Yeah.
we're gonna expect that number to go up more than the 14 because of how we're gonna charge on the indoor stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's-
indoor's not gonna be, indoor's gonna be a couple $100.
I
Yeah,
understand.
but I'm just saying,
But
we're already at 14
yes,
2 years ago.
but that also means that there's the other cost that technically we haven't been realizing is going to be real now.
What do you mean?
If we're paying back for the cleaning folks and that, like, we're
Yeah.
charging for the indoor because we have to cover a certain cost for cleaning services and other things to.
That's true.
take
So you're
place.
saying that's captured here. in the
There's
budget.
going to be costs. We have to, we have to account for the additional revenue, but we have to account for the additional cost as well.
Yep,
Right,
you're right. So,
So the revenue, let's just throw a 15 number out. It's probably higher than that, but let's just throw that number there for right now. Really isn't the payroll.
yeah, this
But
this year, meaning 26, we're gonna have that captured with the pickleball instructor. And I don't know if archery and stuff goes under there, or is archery under
When
contracting?
did we do, but we had the pickleball instructor. When did those classes happen?
This past summer.
In the summer?
Wait, they happened.
Or was it in the spring?
Spring.
They happened, I think they did happen in the spring, so some of those should have been in this number.
But I think that's the session. So I think that is in that revenue.
Revenue, yes, but where's the expense for it? Do we think, was that part of the? Right, because we paid somebody.
Yeah.
Right, an outside source not named Bill,
right.
that wasn't supposed to be out loud as we're recording that.
Let me,
But you know where I'm going with that, right? Is that another little,
yeah, where did that get? You're right, where did that get? Lisa, here, it is in other programs,
okay,
independent contractor, but again, where is independent contractor? Because that's not a line. That's not in here. So that should be switched to payroll.
I would think so.
Mhm.
And that's where archery is captured
I
too.
think that those need, yeah. I'll go back
I
in.
did the other way.
Yeah.
So this is, so basically what we're learning is I need to clean up these, I've been defaulting to what Andrew did, but our budget line, these need to match equally our budget line. Because
Yeah.
there are lines here that are created that are not in our budget.
Otherwise, your wonderful lookup tables,
I know.
I'm pulling them correctly.
Let's do the drag down. Okay. I'm glad you're catching this stuff because my brain's just like, we did it. It all exists.
Okay, so
There we go.
that's gonna be huge. Well, so now we're getting into some of those other areas where we're probably now making, not that that was a big number,
No.
but going from 0 to 23
Yeah.
is significant.
Yep.
Right?
Is there any other things? Just scanning. So archery. Seems better.
It does.
Mhm.
What is this? Oh, that's just because I don't know how to put in Kenny's revenue because he doesn't break it down. So I put it in as one lump sum.
Oh, yeah, that's the revenue, right?
Okay.
Okay, okay, so, let's go back to the side by side. So we can.
Yeah.
Let's, back in, because now that tells me that payroll number. Right, and if we add fast and some of the other things, and that type of stuff, that's probably a bigger number, right?
So I think, would those be here or would those be independent contractors? Those would be here.
I guess,
I
you
think
know,
those would be here, because I think independent contractors are our programs that I hire, and like we have a contract and all that with a
right, so, but,
Jerica or
but
a
it-
Christina.
right, so that would go up in the other,
That would go up to the other, but these would be individual, you know, I'm just like, somebody else is running it and I'm just paying them and taking a
Correct.
percentage. Okay, so that would go here.
for fast and.
Fast,
or
STEM,
something, or- yeah,
okay,
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
So, okay, so that 5 is probably 35. If not more, if we have some of those other,
Because right now we have them for 26 planned, but you're saying assuming we do it again.
Yeah.
Okay,
right? Mhm.
hopefully.
And, you know, but based on that, that means there's also more revenue associated with those programs coming in. So that revenue number then probably also needs to change.
Right, again, you know, if we're off, let's just be off on both
Yeah,
equally.
yeah, correct. So, you know, equipment wise, who knows? Maybe that's, well, we've already got it at, you know, 2,000. You know, is that a 2,500 number? It depends.
Yeah, and what are we talking about? Because we're talking about, so pickleball has 1,000.
Yeah.
There are some
Pickleball has
pickleball,
1,500, right?
1,000. But there are some, oh, am I wrong?
I thought we,
Pickleball's 1,000.
I thought we upped it.
Maybe it is 1,500.
Maybe.
And then, so maybe that's why we went to 200, because then there's some pickleball, but not pickleball budget line costs like bag tags and
Yes,
things
yes,
like that.
yes, yes.
Okay, so that's where our 2,000 comes from. But my point was, the programs we're talking about, FAST, STEM, whatever, they buy everything, right?
Understood.
We have no equipment costs for them
Okay,
and no
But-
location costs.
but if we did like the
No.
art, if we did the arts thing and coming in, with that, some cost there, maybe that's covered by the 500 and other bucks.
Right,
Maybe
and
we just leave it there.
I think we leave it, and I think maybe we just have to know, right now, we're not in a position to have any programs that have any equipment costs.
Okay, got it. Really not liking that 293 number in total expenses right now.
Right.
However,
So the question is, showing these, is this where we say, we don't know where to cut? Because what we're proposing is we cut 12,000 or 13,000 or whatever number, 13,002, whatever number we want to make it,
yeah,
because,
there you go.
thank you. That's the math I'm good at. Because then
Yes,
we're saying, this is real. This is what, this is what we think our expenses are. This is what we think our income is. This isn't, playing around to make 270 be 270. And again, look at all these other towns. Like, this is a reality we have to face. We need to get some money off this, and it needs to be from fixed cost. It needs to be from operations.
yes, but
And maybe if they don't like the idea of it being my payroll, make it to staff benefits, right? They take something, like, it doesn't have to be, it can be something else if you don't like it being my payroll, so you think it like motivate, whatever your reason is, that's fine. It's gotta be something.
no. I'm with you, right? Because then at the end of the day, you look at it and you kind of go, okay, so. And I kind of like that idea because that's what did we put in, 28?
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe say take out.
Well, no, I'm not saying take half, but take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whatever your benefits, fine, you don't wanna do the benefits, payroll piece, we need the benefits to come off the books. Right, I understand, it's kinda, what, you're hired as a zero-sum game, trying to get it to a 78.5 type thing.
Right.
Or to try to cover your payroll.
Right.
Right. But, compared to what it was a couple of years ago in step increases that is,
We didn't ask for.
well, I mean,
These numbers were given to us.
It's
We can't do anything.
it's natural growth and warranted, however, right? Nothing's getting, nothing's getting cheaper on our end either. Right, and, Sandy's been in your corner even though you haven't been in your corner.
I'm just trying to be realistic, right? If we're trying to take 12 grand off, we're back to where I was a year ago. But at least we could afford where it was a year ago, like
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. Again, I want to feel good about what I'm getting paid. I don't want to feel stressed about what I'm getting paid, but we need some help.
yeah, no, exactly, right, and so. You know what? No, scroll back down. So I know I said I'd like it to be 280. Let's figure out a way to get 3.2 off the books. Let's call it an even 2.9. See if we can come up with some, if we were to look at this. I'm gonna go. Right now, swim lessons, put it at revenue at 3,000 and payroll at 2,500. Let's throw $1,000 out of that.
Did you say 2,500?
Yeah,
It's still zero.
right, still zero sum game, but now we're $2,200 off.
I'm sorry, can we just do that again?
No.
Okay.
I understand, but no.
Yeah, okay.
What was the equipment under contracted programs again?
What was it real?
Yeah. Like, what's the contracted programs? Oh, because it's theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, software, credit card fees, operational supplies, marketing, we already took down, those on it there.
We could take another 1,000 off marketing, probably. Unless we think we're gonna do something different in that year.
At least 500. Because I think,
Yeah, go
Yeah,
down.
we could do.
No, go down 1,000 and we're just gonna go,
Yeah.
we're moving it's all digital marketing
Yeah,
stuff,
do maybe one extra ad
yeah.
in some paper.
I know you said no, but if we put this at 18 and we put this down another 1,000 there.
Yeah, I just don't,
Maybe take some off there, 500 off there.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Unless we think payroll's down 1,000. I mean, right, the payroll at that, if we put it at 124. I mean, it's still above the 108, it still kind of covers. All right, so, yeah, what else?
Just back up 300.
48. So that gives us a new 290. Okay. Then the extra 10,000 you need to do, that's the kids to play more.
Because we were at 270. No,
On that autosave.
Yeah, exactly, or turn auto see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is why I know, I always have to do this. Anyway,
Okay,
so we're going up 20,000.
yeah, we are.
Yep.
That seems pretty reasonable to me.
Well,
I mean,
because,
Nothing's gonna get cheaper.
because it's a zero sum game, we're still going to get questions,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Which obviously means at some point, and this, I'm gonna be mindful of time here, right,
Yeah.
of going, because I think the other ones aren't as intense, right? Maybe we can get together and then just send out a blurb later, right? And have Chris,
Yeah.
or, just kind of give a independent,
Yeah.
thumbs up on it. But I don't see a lot of the other stuff that has to change radically I wouldn't think so, right? The main one was really on the record volume, because that's the one that everyone
Mhm.
really is paying attention to.
Right.
I will want to look at the miscellaneous beach one. Just lifeguard costs and that type of
Yeah.
stuff. right?
You can also, if you want, those are the printouts of the line by lines of all these.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take them.
How many concerts did we cancel last year? Canceled, I know, West Miller.
One, I'm not
I think
positive, but I think there's one, because didn't one of them get rescheduled to the.
It was, but it got canceled.
But
They got canceled?
but that
Okay.
one I canceled.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, that this was, because this is 2 summers ago, right?
Confused me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's every year. Every year I do that.
Year.
No, I know,
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, so we can pause and look back on this again with the notes, but the other, the same thing with Sunset Sound, we thought that was going on the technology, CPA,
Yep.
CPC, but it got hit on parks.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
So-
and so even in Kenny's numbers, we were fine. Kenny's numbers were better than mine, in terms of our difference. But if we, based on our plan versus what happened there, we were actually okay.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
we answered the question on the salaries for the yoga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So answered, meaning we're saying yes.
Yes,
Okay.
and I think the adjustment that we made was done in conjunction with the
Right.
raise.
Okay.
So that'll be starting in January.
Yeah,
Um,
that, we should probably write that as an official motion that we're going
Yeah.
to pay yoga and volleyball at the $75 per session rate.
Mhm.
And yoga's going up to 8.
$75.
And
Oh,
yoga-
and,
and yoga's going up to
and,
8.
yoga, well, I think we had already, I think last month we
Yeah.
motioned that
Great.
$75
to 75
per session.
per session.
Okay,
Cool.
so that's a formal.
Yeah, it's just right that, yeah,
Good
sorry,
job.
sorry, right, so I made the motion,
Seconded.
okay, all in favor?
Good.
Great.
Right, well,
No,
we
I,
can, you know, technically, we do still have a quorum, we've got
Yeah.
2/3 of what it is, so, okay.
I don't think we're, it's free.
Okay, so let's. Do we need to then, well, so now the other part is going to be is what exactly are we gonna charge for kids to play now?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, so when do you think we're gonna open registration?
January, always.
January,
I mean,
January?
I can make it January 1, or if we're not decided, I can make it January 10 after a meeting, or I
So,
can.
so do we want to have an earlier January meeting that kind of focuses on finalizing? And the only thing that we're going to try to do is finalize budget and cost items in support of budget, right? So meaning we'll go through kids that play costs and some other things and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then probably later in the month, we can have a normal,
Yeah.
you
Kind of
know,
a
type,
special-
type of meeting.
Yeah.
I don't have a calendar, but when is the second? You want to do the second Wednesday, third?
Wednesdays are bad for me in January.
Okay, whatever works.
You want to do let's see.
And actually Thursdays are best.
Do
Tuesdays
the night. That's the.
Tuesdays would be tough, only because Grace might be out, but I can try to figure out which Tuesday she's out.
If you just want to email me.
But I can make Tuesdays work as long as it's not like, so once a month she has something, as long as it's not that one, she's at the calendar. But does Thursdays work for you? Tuesdays?
I can make Thursdays work, yeah.
Second Thursday?
So you said
I
the
can't-
8th doesn't,
The ninth is a Friday.
So-
9th is a Friday.
Thursday, I could do the eighth.
So Thursday, the 8th?
Yeah,
Okay,
Right, and then maybe a normal one,
towards the end.
you said Wednesdays, and it's going to be bad all January.
yeah, every Wednesday in January and then all time after that.
So why don't we say, because that's the second, so why don't we say the fourth Thursday? Right, so, nine's gonna be the 23rd,
22nd.
22nd, okay, yeah,
Okay,
why don't we do the 22nd for like a regular,
the regular
like
monthly.
monthly directors.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
have
blah,
all the
blah,
stuff, yeah.
Right,
Yeah, it will be.
We'll have,
budget.
we, and actually,
Yes.
and actually in the first one, we should also do a writing review for the year-end summaries.
Yeah.
And
well, because
stuff.
once this is solidified, that's my part. My part is to input all this, and then
Correct.
you all do the write-ups, and I send you
Correct.
the
I
draft.
did the write-up for the
Yeah.
non-budget stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Draft,
Yeah.
Yep.
draft.
And then you do the words for the
You've
budget.
already done it, or you?
I sent
You-
it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's early, but
I haven't seen it. I just haven't,
I'll be away next,
when did you send, was that like in the last day or two?
yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah, so. yeah.
No, no, no.
and then you usually do the words for the budget.
Yes.
Yep, and then I do that.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I'll do the narrative. Yeah.
Because we won't have a meeting to talk about it between now and then, there's nothing anyone needs to do, but just so you all are aware, I'm just kind of moving forward with those, programs that I was talking about,
Mhm.
the Magic STEM,
Yes.
maybe a drama and the fast athletics. So it's all, something you all need to do, the pricing is what it is, I made it just the same as other towns, blah, 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 but,
Great.
it will start before we have a chance to like officially discuss.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see if they win.
Okay, so based on our earlier conversation, I think if we talked with Kenny, maybe what we can do is say, you know, hey, we met with the Lakes and Ponds, you know, some of the other additional testing and other things that may end up coming up. You know, we may have some things with the Board of Health, we may have, you know, with these, does that qualify for site improvement things? Because it
Mhm.
certainly would make sense of,
Yeah.
that could be something that's in that site improvement
Yeah.
bucket
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah.
we could use.
Yeah.
And it's there.
Yeah.
Do we still do the geese stuff?
Yes, but it's a different budget line, it's not ours,
I understand,
but yes,
but did we do it this year?
yes.
We did?
This past year?
Yeah.
We just didn't re-sign the one for this upcoming year, but I believe they did it last year.
Only because obviously you were away
I think we had already signed it though. I don't know if they actually showed up,
Right.
but I believe the
So-
contract had been signed.
Did Joe ever say anything to you about any of the geese saddling stuff for earlier this spring?
Because I,
This
yeah,
spring,
the contracts are usually signed in the winter. So like right now, we're signing the one for the spring. So
Yes.
that means I would have still been on the last
I
time.
understand,
And I believe we signed it, but I don't know. if they-
but I don't know whether or not it ever happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
I don't,
Usually I get a call from the guy.
I
and
don't
was like,
remember
"Oh,
seeing any
no,
mails about it.
Tuesday."
I
Yeah.
saw nothing, yeah.
Usually the guy that he either calls me or emails me and just says, I was there, I'll be back, I'm checking this, I'm checking that. So he might just be doing his own thing now, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
the specific calls or emails.
I don't.
Fair.
I don't know either. I don't know if there was a payment, and understanding, and I
Right,
know,
again, not our-
I know it's not our thing, but it was just a matter of, I
Yeah.
want to make sure
Yeah.
something else doesn't sneak in the interim. Oh, I thought that was yours.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is very specifically not our.
Right, okay,
I would like to try our best to not take too much of that testing budget on us. Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it is a Board of Health benefit. Obviously, it benefits us, but I think they were hoping we had more of a negative financial
Yeah,
hit to
exactly.
kind of,
They asked that a few times.
yeah. So
No, I
hundreds of dollars we're talking, but I don't know if I want to put a ton more.
right, but if we, but if we did come back, if we rolled down the line and said, okay, in the 2 weeks that we were shut down, obviously, we didn't charge anybody for entrance to the beach, but when it's open, a normal weekly piece gets us about this much.
Right.
Right, and I think that's the number that they're looking for. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think, and that's probably not that hard to probably go back and figure, as long as it wasn't being done as one big lump sum. Although, shoot, it's now electronic. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually easier on that side because it's a different like portal, right? The credit card fees at the gatehouse are a different portal. And so then I just have to add in the cash. So I just go back and flip through the pages to find the cash deposit for that week. So it's not impossible, but.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it's,
Okay.
it's,
When do you
it's not
wanna-
positioned that way yet.
If it's subtracted. up, I
Well,
can't-
credit card fees, the
Yeah, I
other
understand.
part is,
I understand.
the other part is, yeah. When do you want to meet about?
So, yeah, I don't know. Just do whatever, like, so, I'm not working next week
Okay.
at all,
Good for you.
I think.
Okay.
Well, technically, it's a shutdown week, so I shouldn't be, but
Right.
it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not gonna get calls.
Right.
Uh,
Friday? Who's Friday?
um,
Or are you in the office?
so I'm not, but I'm taking my aunt to a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 10:30 thing.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it's the first time that
Yeah,
I'm,
no.
it's kind of one of those, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to have been asked.
Yeah.
So I can say yes.
Yep.
Because I've hinted on the fact and I'm like, okay, she's 80, she's legally blind.
Yep,
She can see some things, but technically she's legally blind, right? Like,
yeah,
She needs, she needs a ride, like, well, why didn't you call? Right, type of thing, right?
Right,
You know,
right.
I've got 2 kids that can drive now too. Right? And
Yeah, right.
We're in town, right? She's the log cabin next to the pond on
Oh,
School
yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So that could, that is.
right, because that used to be Porterville, right? Because the house that's in the
Yeah.
triangle,
Yeah, yeah.
in the triangle,
Yeah.
that was a legacy Porter house. The blue house up on top of the hill
Yeah.
that's technically High Street, was a Porter house.
Oh,
So that one, those two, but then the log cabin and the one next to it were all Porters.
young place.
So we had 4, so hence we used to call it Porterville.
There you go.
I didn't live in any of those,
But you.
but they were all, the brothers and my relatives.
so not working next week, meaning that is available for this, or you're saying you want to
Oh,
not?
yeah, no,
work?
no,
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, no.
Got it,
Meaning I'm not going into the office and doing Dell stuff.
got it. What about, the 23rd, like in the afternoon? 3, 4,
Yeah, yeah,
3?
That's-
Did you guys look at the minutes?
that's Tuesday.
Oh, right, you
wanna approve
approved
the
You
the
know what? I didn't get a chance to look at it, so.
We can do it on the tenth or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.